as an MP is to, his toenails a journalist. And a journalist never reveals his sources. And the only people who know for certain are the Provisional IRA, and they are never going to say who was involved in that. And I realise that's hurtful for the families, but I think it needs to be said.
David Cameron has said Russia will face a tough response from the international community unless it stops destabilising Ukraine by sending troops and tanks into Ukraine. Speaking at the G20 summit in Brisbane, he said if Moscow didn't back down, a meeting of European foreign ministers on Monday could decide to impose further sanctions.
What we need to see is Russia respecting the territorial integrity and the right of this country to choose, the right of Ukraine to choose its own future. If we see that, and if we see Russia take the steps that they agreed in the Minsk agreement, then we can see a good future for relations between Russia and Europe and Russia and Britain, and a good future for Ukraine.
A laptop containing personal details of potential students at Staffordshire University has been stolen. It was taken from a car belonging to a member of staff. Information included addresses and contact details of applicants dating back to 2006. The university says it's reviewing its technical security. It's been another record-breaking year for BBC's Children in Need, with more than £32 million donated by the end of last night's television show. Highlights of the show included a performance by One Direction and a special edition of Strictly presented by Sir Bruce Forsyth. The telethon was hosted for the 35th year in a row by Sir Terry Wogan, who said he was again astonished at the generosity of the British public.
We seem to say it every time. We said it last year. But honestly, what a year. Once again, another vintage one. Every year we seem to get more and more from the generous British public. It's amazing. You're the reason children everywhere in the UK continue to have hope.
The weather cloudy with isolated showers and a top temperature of 12 Celsius, 54 Fahrenheit. Patchy rain this evening and tonight with lows of 4 Celsius, 39 Fahrenheit. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The Voice. The Voice.
The Voice.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
You should take in other religions and treat them as you would want to be treated yourself.
We are even more intelligent. They treated me with the utmost respect.
Iain Lee, Saturdays
9 till 12.
BBC WM 95.6.
I love the fact that not Tony Blair. Hang on a second. Let me. Oh, yeah, it's David Cameron is the Prime Minister these days, isn't it? Yes, I forgot for a second. I love the fact that David Cameron is telling Putin what to do. Oh, yeah, because he's going to listen to you, David, isn't he? He's nuts. He's nuts. Do you know how David Cameron's meeting Putin, I think, today? Do you know how he's meeting him? Do you know how he's meeting him? It's being called an impromptu walk-by. So basically, they'll be in the same queue at Starbucks. Nice to see you, Vlad. You too, David. That's it. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. More voices throughout the show. Lots to talk about this morning. Old men in the army. When I say old, they're increasing the age limit to which you can join the army up to, I think, 52. 52? 52-year-old soldiers hobbling across the battlefield. I mean, it doesn't really make me feel safe. 03453 009956. And what is the point of going on a cruise? If you are going on a cruise, you are admitting that your soul has died. 03453 009956.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453 009956.
BBC WM 95.6.
Oh, I think the paper that has all the details of the old soldiers, I think I might have left it upstairs, Producer Joe. Can we send one of the team upstairs to get it, please? Otherwise, well, we don't have much of a show. We don't have much of a show anyway. So I've been off the last couple of weeks. I had laryngitis. Laryngitis, literally. It sounds impressive, laryngitis. It's not. It just means you've got no voice. I'd lost my voice, and as you can hear, I'm still a little bit husky. I have no higher register. Can't do it. So if I get attacked in the street by muggers or a mouse runs across my bed, no one's going to know about it. Anyway, I'm battling through. I'm being very brave about it. Why would you go on a cruise, guys? I know we have some older listeners. A lot of this show is going to be geared at you, older soldiers, older holidays. Why would you go on a cruise? I once went to Sicily. I was there for about 6 days, my wife and my firstborn when he was a baby. We're in a nice little village/town called Kefaloù. I think it was a hard C. Kefaloù. Not a lot to do there. Nice walks, nice views, great little restaurants. Perfect, as Pa Larkin would say. Anyway, we're strolling around there, having some rather wonderful ice cream, and we got talking to this couple in their, let's say they were in their late 60s. And as you do, you get talking to these people, even though you have no interest in what they're actually saying. And they were on a cruise. So their boat had pulled in to the boat car park. They had all been herded off, gotten onto a coach, driven for an hour to this town of Kefaloù, were there for, I think, 45 minutes, then were herded back onto the coach, driven back to the boat, and then taken off to another country. What's the point in that? Où est la joie? Joie. Où est la joie de vivre, s'il vous plaît? There's no holiday in that. There's no fun. Yes, I'd like to sleep on a boat for one night. But after that, you are stuck on a boat for how long are these cruises? 2 weeks, 3 weeks? With a load of other old people whose souls have died. I cannot think of anything worse. Oh, have I got the paper here? Hello, Producer Joe. All right, mate, thank you. Blimey. Can't get the staff these days. You missed loads of phone calls while you were gone. 03453 009956. You can call in about anything, by the way. You know the way this show works. The reason we're talking about this is in the Daily Mail, Britain's favourite newspaper. Mutiny of the Saga cruise passengers told to pay £8 a day in tips. Passengers on a Saga cruise have complained they were effectively asked to pay the cruise wages after being urged to tip £8 a day. All the food's included. All the drinks included. There's no fun in... If you've ever been on a cruise, could you give me a call and let me know just how miserable an experience it was? What was the fun bit? Where was the fun? They have shows, don't they? Theatres, 6 different restaurants. Travellers on the all-inclusive tour of the Croatian Dalmatian Islands were allegedly told by a guide that the gratuity was the company's own recommendation, which would be shared among the ship's 7 crew. What? But with 30 passengers on board for the 8-day cruise, they calculated this worked out at £274 per crew member. All the passengers felt that this was a con, said one traveller. If you've ever been on a cruise, if you've ever gone on a holiday on a boat, why would you do it? I don't even really like holidays at the best of times. Imagine being away from your own bed. But if you're going to be away from your own bed, at least be somewhere where you can walk around, where you can eat nice food, and where you can see things and do things. Being on a boat would just sap the life out of you, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? 03453 009956. I can see this cruise story has really got you excited by the fact. No, by the fact the way I interpret it, Joe, is that if we don't get phone calls on something, what that means is they are so enraptured. They're so enraptured by what's going on that they don't want to call in because they just want to listen to my point of view. 03453 009956. The other story that we're going to talk about today, the other one, there's loads. Would you join the army in your 50s? Some over 50s will be able to join the Army Reserve in a drive by the Ministry of Defence to increase the number of recruits. The upper age limit for former regular army soldiers has been raised from 43 to 52. Well, Tim Ripley is a defence analyst with Jane's Defence Weekly magazine. Morning, Tim.
Good morning. I'm tempted to start whistling Who Do You Think You're kidding Mr. Hitler.
Well, exactly. They will be if it's a load of old men joining the army again. Is this because this is the reason I heard in the week, Tim, that there have been huge cutbacks in the number of military staff. David Cameron famously wanted to increase the number of reserves, and that's failed miserably.
Yeah, I mean the famous targets to expand the Army Reserve Corps, the old Territorial Army, by 10,000 troops by 2018. I mean, I think the figures this year show they've only managed to recruit an extra 20 soldiers this year to the Army Reserve, so they're obviously struggling. This initiative is, so I understand, is aimed at former regular soldiers who are over 50 who would be queuing up again to do their old jobs sort of again. So you're talking about sort of expert, cooks or intelligence people or tank mechanics or that kind of people, rather than people who want to be frontline infantry soldiers, which obviously you need to be a bit younger to do that kind of.
So it's not going to be big old fellas that are going to be running around with guns doing the actual shooting of the bad guys. They'll be kind of more behind the scenes, helping things function.
Exactly. That's the sort of way I understand it. I mean, if you're going to be a frontline infantry soldier, the average age is between 18 and 25, and I know the population's got a bit fitter since 1940, but certainly, when you're in your 50s, you don't want to be doing that kind of thing.
Why would these people have left the army in the first place? Would they have retired? Would they have been pensioned off? Why?
Well, the army's made about 15,000 people redundant over the past 4 years. They were forcibly made redundant, had their careers ended, and lots of them I know have either want to get a bit of extra money, or they miss it. That they didn't want to leave the army, and joining the reserve is a way to get a bit of the old days back.
I'm getting rid of huge numbers of soldiers and military personnel. Yeah, it's going to save a load of money when we're all making cutbacks. In the long term, though, it even to me, it seems like a pretty poor idea.
I mean, lots of people have said that the government sort of round of cutbacks in 2010 was made in haste, and certainly they've had to reverse several of their defence decisions that they made at that time. That they've famously changed the type of aircraft carrier and planes they were going to buy. So those decisions were made in a rush, and I think lots of people are beginning to realise that some of them weren't made with long-term implications in mind. They were made just to make rapid short-term cash savings.
Tim, I'd never heard of Jane's Defence Weekly magazine. Who the hell is Jane, and why does she love the military so much?
No, it's not a she, it's a he. Fred T. Jane is the man who wrote the first book of warships over 100 years ago.
Blimey.
Just when battleships had been invented and were starting to be quite topical, and he had a list of all the world's battleships, the famous dreadnoughts and all that sort of stuff before World War I, and it's sort of expanded since then, and it covers everything about defence now.
Brilliant. Well, Tim, I appreciate your time and your thoughts this morning. Thank you. 03453 009956. Are you an older man or woman? Would you want to rejoin the military? Surely once you're out, you're out. You can't get back up to speed. And yes, you won't be running around the mountains of Afghanistan shooting... who are the bad guys there? The Taliban. But you might be fixing tanks, making tanks go. Would you want to do it? If you're an older person, would you want to join the army? And do you feel safe knowing that, well, our army numbers have been cut back massively? The plan to get 30,000, to increase the number of reservists by more than 10,000 to 30,000 within the next 4 years. In the last 12 months, we got an extra, you heard Tim say it, 20. 20. It's poor, isn't it? It's pretty poor. 03453 009956. It's BBC WM 95.6. I think we're going to Matthew for the travel.
We certainly are. Through Wolverhampton this morning, the Cannock Road fully reopened now, say West Midlands Police, after the troubles we had not too far from the fire station. Still the works in Aston for Aston Bridge, a closure around Dartmouth Circus today. And we've got cones to watch out for through the Black Country around Great Bridge as well on the A41 Black Country New Road, just up by the navigation roundabout. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel on 08453 002288.
Pete Morgan at breakfast.
Claire Peters from Walsall Wood. She's being treated for ovarian cancer.
Good evening, everyone.
chemo.
Right.
Right through till January.
Claire, I've got somebody on the line.
Morning. Hi, Claire.
Oh, God, it's me, mate, Julie.
I'm sorry it's not the older.
Can I just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart?
Claire, it's almost like people love you.
Oh, and I love everyone as well. Because I love to put smiles on people's faces, and that's what I live for.
Pete Morgan at breakfast.
Monday to Friday, 6 till 9.
BBC WM 95.6.
Lee's emailed in, ian.lee@bbc.co.uk. Iain, I'll be going on my first cruise in 2 weeks' time, starting in Miami. Why not just go to, I don't know, Miami? I hear it's quite nice there. We then travel to Key West, Mexico, and then Honduras before sailing back to Miami. It's a cruise with... Oh, blimey, O'Reilly, here we go. It's a cruise, probably in every sense of the word, with 40 RuPaul drag race queens. So we might see you there, as I hear you like dressing up as a woman. Thank you very much indeed, Lee. Very amusing. Now, I can understand why Lee might want to be stuck on a boat with 40 drag queens. That's obviously his thing. It floats his boat. But why... the thing is, Kate, when you go on holiday... You'll know what I'm talking about, Maylene. When you go on holiday, right, you always end up with really boring people, either in the room next to you or they sit down with you at breakfast or on the sun lounges next to you. Really boring people, OK? If that happens on a cruise, you're stuck with them for 2 weeks.
Not at all. It all depends on which cruise you've been on. I've been on a couple. I've been on a couple of Caribbeans, and I find them most enjoyable. I had a marvellous time.
What did you do on your boat that was so marvellous?
Yeah. You talk about having food. We had food. There was food from morning till night.
Yeah.
From all over the world. The finest dining. You could go to the average canteen and eat. Or at night we went out to dinner. We dressed up. We went to dinner.
But why
anything you want on the menu.
But why is it better, Maylene, doing that on a boat and not in, I don't know, a town?
Well, you could do it in a town, but I just happened to, to go on this cruise. I must admit, at first I was a bit apprehensive because I'm afraid of water. I nearly drowned when I was a child in Barbados, so it left me with a fear of water.
So hang on, you went on a cruise and you're scared of water, you plum?
I'm scared. I'm petrified.
Maylene, you silly sausage, you know though that's a boat and you will be surrounded by water.
Tell you, but it didn't deter me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been to the Caribbean. I've been all over the Caribbean.
But why not just go to a Caribbean island and wander around the island and meet the people and eat the food and enjoy the atmosphere?
But we did. On the cruise you do.
But you get about an hour, then you have to go back.
No. It all depends on the cruise on which you've been on.
Did you? Can I ask you, Maylene?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess your age.
Yeah, go on.
76.
No. I'm 71.
Oh, I was close.
Yeah.
It is an old person's thing, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
I bet there was
amazing how many young couples and you meet on cruises.
I bet there was nobody under the age of 45 on there.
No. There were children. There were young people.
Well, there were children because they forced
their family groups. Yes, they were.
Maylene, stay there because Millie, you're on my side, aren't you, Millie?
I am. Oh, Millie, I know Millie. Millie, shut up. You know me. I'm Maylene. Remember me? Maylene. Which Maylene? The one that lives in Stetford by Brenda. Yeah. You're all right. I am all right, Millie. I had a lovely time on my cruises. Right. No. I can't afford to go on one now, otherwise I would, because they've gone so expensive now. But, the last two I've been on, they were really lovely bargains. Unfortunately, they put the prices up, which put it out of my reach. But I tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed them. Am I coming in now?
It's very rarely, Millie, I hear you lost for words.
No, I let her talk.
Maylene's owned you.
Yeah, I let her have her say.
Well, why don't you let me have my say when I'm talking?
No, because you're my mate. You like rubbing me up, and I like rubbing you up.
Millie, let's not give out. Let's not give our secrets about rubbing each other up.
I know plenty of friends that goes on cruise, yeah?
Yeah.
And it comes back and it goes, oh, Millie, why you always going to New York and that and you don't go on a cruise? I says, why you want to go on a cruise for? I said, when I'm in a plane and anything happen, I'm dead. When I'm on a cruise and anything happen, I'm frozen to death. Can I swim back from in the sea? I can't swim to shore. I don't like cruise. I don't. And the next thing, they goes, oh, I went to Barbados. You didn't went to Barbados. You dock in Barbados.
Right. But so you're a lot of fun to travel with. So what's your attitude then, Millie, when you're on the bus?
When I go on a bus?
Because that might crash or get blown up or something, or it might fall.
No, that's something different.
Oh, so, okay. So
when I go on vacation, yeah?
Yes.
I only go on vacation to my sisters and, my cousins. Yes. I don't go on vacation.
Holiday.
Go on cruises and all that.
Yes.
Because I will starve to death.
You will starve to death?
Yeah, because I can't cook my own food.
Flipping it.
You get where I'm coming from?
Not quite, no.
Because I don't eat out.
You don't eat out?
No. I go to my sisters. This is my family only.
Maylene, can you help me? Because she won't listen to me. You come in, Maylene. You come in.
I don't care what she says, but cruising is fantastic.
People go on cruise to show off.
Oh, that's a load of crap, Millie.
Come off it. People go and say, oh, I went on a cruise last year, and I'm going on a cruise this year, and I went on a cruise. What is so strange?
I don't like to sponsor me along with you. I mean, you know, on your job, you must get a good paycheck, you know.
I'm not going on a cruise, really, not for no man in the world.
Listen there, Iain.
Iain, when you go on a cruise, yeah, you all go there and dress up and dance or whatever.
Yeah. Why not?
Or you all don't know what happening aboard. You look out the ship? You can't see anything.
She said
it's
ship.
Dark.
Yeah.
I go over from here to France, yeah? Right?
Yeah.
From here to Germany, yeah? Right, on the boat.
Yeah.
When you look out, it's dark. It's dark. Anybody to throw you overboard. You don't even know you're gone.
And a very luxurious one.
Millie, why are you assuming that people would want to murder you? Although, actually, I'm beginning to understand why they might do that on a cruise.
Hang on. You never know what happens on the cruise. I like where I can see myself. I can walk the streets. I go to New York. You like
to go to New York and walk the streets.
I go to my sister. I get early in the morning, about 6 o'clock. I go and walk about. Then I go back home. Then I go and visit friends. That's where I go. I don't go like on cruises.
You went on a cruise.
I go to see my family. I don't want to go on a cruise.
Okay.
Your choice. You can go to Barbados and visit your family.
I went to Barbados.
You can have 1 week
I
cruise,
might just go home.
No, I go to Barbados. Yes. I go in a plane.
Okay, right. Well, so, right.
I go to Barbados to my sister.
Good for her. Even better for us. Right.
Okay, Iain.
Maylene, nice to talk to you.
I'm the same to you.
Millie, nice to listen to you.
Bye-bye, darling. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ta-ta. Bye-bye. There we go. Blimey, all right. 03453 009956 is the telephone number. If you want to come and talk to me, or talk at me, you're more than welcome to. Cruises. What's the point in cruises? Flipping heck. If they're on them, I can understand why Millie would be feared for her life. Because I can see the whole crew ganging up on her and tossing her off the back of the boat. 03453 009956. It's going to be one of those shows today where I think we're going to kind of bounce all around the place. Got lots of stuff in the papers to sort of go through. So if there's anything you think we should be talking about, I'll be honest. Let's pull back the curtain. I'll be honest, Ranj.
Hi, mate.
A little bit quiet on the phones this morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you going to get people calling in?
I am.
Saying, get that idiot off.
No.
Away you go.
Okay, on a serious note, yeah?
Yes.
All right, I haven't got much time for governments and the rules that they make, right? Because most of them are like chocolate fire guards, yeah? Now, recently this week, Cameron has been talking about these jihadis.
Yes.
Now, if you want to be a jihadist, he's going to confiscate your passport, yeah?
Yeah, that'll learn them.
So you can't go out.
Yeah.
Now, is that going to change their feelings?
No.
No. So what means you're stopping a potential terrorist going out of this country and doing damage somewhere else. So you're going to cause them to be in a confined country, in this country.
Well, I imagine they'll be in prison.
They won't. No, they're not going to be in prison. He can't imprison them. He's just taking their passports.
Well, I don't think he can just take their passports.
No, that's what he's trying to do. If you look up on the internet or somewhere like that, right?
Yes.
A potential jihadist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unless they get to the extreme point where they've done something in this country where he can arrest them.
Okay.
He's on about confiscating their passport.
So that's not going to work. So what should he do?
Okay. And the other one he's saying, is once that they've gone.
Is anyone listening to me this morning?
I'm listening.
Well, then answer the question, you plum.
What? Hang on.
You don't even know. You don't even know what the question was.
I says let them go. If they want to go and die in Syria,
Yeah.
right? Go to Syria and die.
Right. What if they want to go to Syria, learn how to make brilliant bombs, and come back and blow us
Don't
up?
let them back in. Don't let. He's saying that he's going to make them wait 2 years till they come back in. That isn't going to change their ideology.
Right. So tell me what you would do, Ranj.
Me, I would say, listen, mate. You want to go and get killed? Go. Don't come back.
Right.
Yeah?
You
If
can't.
survive,
You can't.
Don't come back.
You can't. You can't. Here's the thing about international law, Ranj. You can't stop them coming back.
No, give them a gun, and put a bullet in your head and put a bullet in my head. Go on, do that then.
No,
Is that
Ranjit.
what you want?
No, Ranjit, surprisingly, I don't want to be shot in the head by a jihadist. I know it sounds like a crazy concept, but I'd rather not. But
the concept is this, right? You're letting them back in the country.
Ranjit.
Yeah, go on.
Listen, I don't want to be shot in the head by a jihadist. Let's assume that's
nor
right.
do I.
Okay, well, great. But you can't take someone's passport away and stop them coming back into the country and make them stateless. You can't do that.
Listen, he wants to railroad and all the three political parties.
Do you accept what I've just...
railroad these kind of laws in. Why can't they railroad a law in like that you will make you stateless?
Because the international law is can't... Ranjit, you can't do it. You can't make somebody stateless. So where do they go? Where do we keep them then? They just stay in the arrivals lounge at Heathrow?
Don't be silly.
Well, where do we send them? Where do we send them?
They've gone to Syria, they've gone to India, gone to anywhere. Stay there. That's your problem. It's not our problem anymore.
No, but the Indians won't want them. The Syrians won't want them.
Then don't leave them stateless.
You can't, Ranjit. You can't win an argument by just ignoring the facts.
When they come back, then put them in prison till the day they die, and that's the end of.
And what are we?
I want to be. Listen.
What are we putting them in prison for?
If you've gone out to fight an illegal war,
right,
or if you've gone out to be a jihadi somewhere,
What if you've just gone out to visit relatives in Syria, as a friend of mine does?
Listen. We know the difference between going to another country to visit friends and being a jihadi.
And how do we know that difference, Ranj?
Well,
because of what it says on the front page of the Daily Mail.
How do you know whose passport to confiscate then?
Well, exactly.
Well,
you
the
don't.
Same thing then. Okay, you go abroad.
You're arguing with yourself, Ranjit. You're insane.
Because, listen, I want this country to be a safe country, and I want the world to be a safe country.
You're saying that as though I don't want this country to be safe.
You're putting words into my mouth. I'm not saying nothing that you're saying. I'm saying that this is what people are saying, If these jihadists, right, want to go somewhere, let them out of this country. That's one less one we got who's going to be a potential bomber in this country. Because as soon as you stop them
going round, Ranjit, you're just going round in circles, and you're ignoring that little thing. You're ignoring the F word. Facts.
Okay. The facts are Cameron and his cronies, and Miliband, all of them are just going round in more bigger circles than I am.
Do you think David Cameron wants jihadists to come over here and kill us all?
No, he doesn't.
Right, OK. Right. So what is Cameron and his cronies then? What can they practically do that obeys international law?
Listen, you know when the other European countries don't want to toe the EU line, they rebel. I want Cameron to rebel. He's in Brisbane now. He should turn round, and one thing he should say to everybody in Brisbane...
Brisbane?
Listen, let me finish.
Brisbane?
Brisbane in Australia.
Brisbane?
Yeah, listen.
I've never heard anyone mispronounce Brisbane.
But that's the way I say it, so stop splitting hairs, What I'm saying is he should say to them, we are going to rebel, we aren't going to obey international law.
What?
Ranjit,
you're insane.
See what they're going to do?
OK, Ranjit, what they'll do is they will laugh, they'll go,
Don't be silly.
Of course they would. You can't ignore international law. Hey, that rhymes. I'm a poet and I didn't realise.
No, so
you can't ignore international law.
No, when something happens in France,
I'm like the Beastie Boys.
They blockade the ports, They do everything. We can't do that. We should be able to do that.
All right, Ranjit, you go and blockade the ports, mate. Let me know how that goes.
I will, mate.
Thank you very much indeed. 03453 009956. It's a little thing called international law, and guess what? You've got to follow. Oh, look, my favourite person's in. Not you, Daz. Sorry, not you. Afternoon, morning.
Iain Lee.
On BBC WM.
95.6.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
Marie's on the line. Good morning, Marie.
Good morning to you. How are you?
I've got a headache after listening to Range bang on.
I think we all have.
Flipping it. Can we make this a Range-free zone for the next 6 years? Marie, what would you like to say, my darling?
About cruises.
Awful, aren't they?
I absolutely love cruises. We've just come off our 11th. We came off a transatlantic cruise from Miami to Barcelona, and we were at sea for 12 days.
Oh.
And it was fantastic.
And how long did you spend in Miami?
We met friends there first, so we went a little bit earlier, so we were there 2 days.
And how long did you spend in Barcelona?
A whole day. Well, that was the day that we came back, so.
So, 24 hours?
But basically, yeah.
20 hours?
Yeah.
So you spent 20 hours in one of the most beautiful and historic cities in Europe, and you spent 12 days, somebody can do the maths on how many hours that is, on a boat looking at nothing.
Well, it's not a boat, it's a ship, because you can put a boat on a ship but not a ship on a boat. But there you go.
Someone's been listening to the captain. Someone's read the leaflets in their room.
But we've also been to Barcelona. We've spent 2 weeks there, and on Island Escape Cruise we stayed there for 2 days. So I can argue back like Raj that we've been on other cruises and we've been in Barcelona. So yes, it is a beautiful place. But we've been there before.
But so what did you do on a boat for 2 weeks?
There's so much entertainment. We were on Oasis of the Seas, which is the biggest ship in the Royal Caribbean Fleet.
Yes.
And it was absolutely fantastic because there's so many different activities. There was...
table tennis?
No.
Television?
We watched the musical Hairspray, and there's ice skating.
I thought you were going to say Hair, which is. Have you seen Hair?
No.
Do you know what happens in Hair?
Yeah, they'll take all the clothes off.
Have I told this story here? I love Hair. I think Hair is. I'm not really a fan of musicals, but I love Hair. Right, I think it's brilliant. And I took my mum to see a production of it last year. Now, my mum's not very well. She's in a wheelchair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to a London theatre in a wheelchair, but here's a tip, guys: if you go to a London theatre in a wheelchair, the carer either goes half price or free. So I'm not suggesting for a second that you find a wheelchair and fake it, but you know these are times of austerity. So,
but on the cruise ships, there's plenty of spaces for people in wheelchairs.
Yeah, I bet there's loads of blooming wheelchairs there. We went to see Hair, right? And my mum was in her wheelchair, and she was sat. We were on the up in the balcony. And she was sat right on the aisle, okay, so she's at the end. Now, the bit when they all strip off in Hair is the end of the first half, and they start singing Let the Sun Shine In, right?
You know too much detail. You're obviously prepared for that.
I love it. I was ready. I had my eyes peeled. And anyway, so they took off all their clothes. Let the sun shine in, and they take their clothes. They're all in the nuddy, right? And this fella climbs up the balcony and starts walking to us, completely in the nude, right? Yeah. Let the sun shine in. Walking towards my mum. Let the sun shine in. The sun. And she sat there, and what he does, I'm acting this out, he's naked, Marie.
Yeah.
He puts 1 foot up on the balcony.
Yes.
Right next to my mother.
Yes.
And he was singing Let the Sun Shine In. Everything was flapping literally inches from my mother's face.
And what did your mother say?
She was in her element. She said, I've not seen one of those in years.
She thought she was at a Chippendales do, I think.
She's a Chipolata thing. Yeah, no, she was loving it. She's never had so much fun in her life.
There you go, then.
Anyway, you saw Hairspray.
Yes.
Then what did you do for the other 13 nights?
There's loads of shows. There was ice skating shows, like Disney on Ice type of thing.
Flippin' heck.
There was Forensic man who was the DA for Los Angeles gave talk.
Whoa, hang on a second. Quincy was on the boat.
24 hours a day.
Quincy was on the boat talking about cadavers.
Yes.
Right, now, I would like to go and see Quincy talking about cutting up dead people.
They showed the police reports that they don't normally show.
Did you see videos of dead people?
Yes. That was just the audience.
Flippin' heck, Marie, that's a weird holiday to go on.
But when you're out at sea and you see, while you're waiting for food to come out, you see, and for you to be wheeled to the next food.
Yeah.
But there was a bar that went up and down like a lift, and you went up and down in that. There was shows outside. There was so much to do. There's 24 hours drinking, 24 hours eating, there's saunas, there's so much activity we didn't get a chance, because you're making friends. You make best friends on holiday, don't you?
No, you don't. You make people that you tolerate and then you never see again when you come home.
Exactly. No, they join your Facebook friends when you come back.
Oh, blimey.
You never get rid of them.
Marie, thank you very much indeed. 03453 009956. Quincy was on her boat giving talks about dead people and cutting up dead people and showing videos of dead people. Now, I'd like to go and see that, but not on a holiday necessarily. It's a bit, how can I describe it? Macabre. Little bit macabre. 03453 009956. She went to Miami for a day. She went to Barcelona for less than a day. In between those 2 days, in two amazing cities, she was on a boat for 14 days. Flippin' heck. Really? And I bet you are playing Dodge the Wheelchair. Aren't you just? Wouldn't it be... how much do those things tip and roll, the boats? Because it would be fun, wouldn't it, to leave the brakes off? Wheelchair races? No, guys? No? You're not having any of that? 03453 009956. I just do not get the point of the cruises. Malcolm's in Bourneville. Good morning, Malcolm.
Hello, Ian.
What you got for us, boss?
Well, I was just thinking. I was going to talk about the old soldiers business and all that, but I think you've got to be a certain physical fitness to join before they'll take you to. It doesn't matter what you're going to do, whether it's behind the scenes or what. You've still got to have a certain fitness.
Old people aren't very fit, are they?
Well, it depends. It depends if you're a person that's kept fit most of your life, I suppose, and you're still fairly fit at that stage. But there again, them sort of people might not want to join the army and everything.
It doesn't fill me with confidence that they're trying to recruit people now up to the age of 52 to join or rejoin the army.
They'll have problems because if they're going to have people that are going to come straight from Civvy Street, unless they've kept themselves fit, gone to the gym and done jogging and God knows what all their years, then they might not be very. They might not take them in because they might not be able to get fit enough for it. Even if they did, you just want to be a driver, a cook, or whatever.
Here's a question.
You've still got to be fit.
Here's a question, and I think we can ask this the week after the week of. Remembrance Day, the 100th anniversary of course, the start of World War I. Some amazing packages on BBC WN with some great stories. Here's something I've never been able to get, and people will interpret this as me being disrespectful. I don't mean it as disrespectful. I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Why would anyone want to join the army?
Well, I don't put it like this. I done 6 years when I was 18.
Is that because you had to?
But I wouldn't. I'd always recommend somebody to join the Navy or the Air Force now, rather than the Army.
Why?
because I don't know. From what I can see, they don't have to have so much running around. They don't have to do so much.
Oh, so you're lazy.
That sort of thing.
You're lazy.
Eh?
You're lazy. Is that what it is? Lazy people should go and join the Navy or the RAF.
No. It's not so much lazy. I done 6 years as an infantry soldier, so I stuck at that.
What did you get out of it, Malcolm?
What did I get out of it?
Yeah.
Well, I saw the world, shall we say? I saw the world, and I managed to pass my driving test.
I passed my driving test while I was taking my A-levels. I didn't need to be in the military.
No, but I'm just saying, you asked me what I got out of it, and in them days, in the 60s, that was good.
My dad, God rest his soul, turns out he'd never took a driving test, right? And the way he got his driving licence, he was in the army.
Yeah.
And a sergeant or a major said...
Sergeant Major.
Yeah, Sergeant Major said to him, right, you boy, can you drive? And my dad went, no. He said, well, I need someone to drive me from here to there. He said, well, I haven't got a licence, but I can do it. He said, all right, drive me. And at the end of it, the Sergeant Major signed a bit of paper and said, right, go and swap that for a driving licence. And that's how he got his driving licence, because he drove someone. Malcolm.
As bad as what I was doing,
Malcolm, we're losing you. 03, more ways than one. 03453 009956. Yeah, I think it was a Sergeant Major. Just my dad drove him somewhere. Have you got a driving licence, boy? No. Well, you have now. Brilliant. I say this with the greatest of respect. Why would you want to join the army? Why would you want to? It's never appealed to me as a career prospect. If you've been in it, tell me what you got out of it. Or what you didn't get out of it. 03453 009956. Joe's in Hotwood. Morning, Joe.
Hi, morning.
Morning, Joe.
You're talking through your backside if you don't like cruises.
I beg your pudding. What?
Don't knock it till you try it. My husband bought me one as a surprise for my 50th birthday.
Yes, because you turned old.
Pardon?
Yes, for your birthday, yeah.
Yeah, that was a few years ago.
Yeah, I bet it was.
I'm a bit older now, but we love it. Waking up each morning to a different island, so much to do every day. And I'm actually taking my son. It's sort of a bit of a belated honeymoon in February, and we're going to have a whale of a time.
Well, hang on. Sorry, one sec. Joe, did you just say you're taking your son on honeymoon?
Oh, no, it's a belated one. This was like, over 12 months ago, he got remarried.
Oh, OK.
And he wants a holiday of a lifetime, and I shall make sure it is for him.
OK, but what are you going to do? Why don't you just go to a nice city or a nice beach or...
We've been there, we've done that.
Well, no, you haven't been there. Have you been to every city and every beach in the world?
I've been to quite a few.
Oh, yeah, you've not been to... I bet you've been to less than 1% of them.
No, I've been to London, I've been to Edinburgh... different places.
Oh, no, fair play. You've been to most of the cities.
To wake up somewhere different each and every day is lovely.
But you're not waking up somewhere different. You're waking up on a different bit of water that looks like the same as the last bit of water.
No. It's different. The islands are so different. You meet so many different people, and it is lovely. And it's just nice to have a nice, relaxing holiday. I don't want to sit on a beach all day, every day.
Well, no, I don't like beach holidays. I can do about 2 days of unwinding on a beach, although if you've got 2 young kids, there ain't no unwinding.
Yeah.
I can do about 2 days on the beach.
Don't take kids with you.
Well, they're 4 and 2. It's going to be tricky to leave them at home.
Oh, well, what can I say?
Although there was that mum in the paper the other week. Did you hear about this?
No.
Who left her 6-year-old at home for 45 minutes. So she guess what was so important, Joe? She had to go and leave the 6-year-old on his own.
Well, I don't do that.
She had to go and have a driving lesson.
Well, I've had to always have somebody to look after my children. I had no grandparents to look to when I got married and my kids were young. So I just had to do what I had to do. And now that they are older, I am spreading my wings.
Blimey, are you going to do a Shirley Valentine and get a younger Greek man to make love to you?
No, I've got one very good husband.
Just the
one. What can I say?
Okay. Well, Joe...
And we've been through some very tough times, believe you me.
Well, I'm glad that you're still together. I'm glad that you're enjoying each other's...
4 years later, my mate.
Oh, blimey. Joe, listen, are you a fan of I'm a Celebrity?
Yes, I do like it.
What do you think? I think the lineup this year is very, very poor.
Oh, yes. I mean, all these, you get these that go in and, I don't like spiders and I don't like this.
Here's something. They've just announced on the front page that Edwina Curry is going in, right?
Oh, wow.
Guess who they asked last week to go in? And that person said no.
Go on, tell me.
It was me.
And why didn't you go in?
Because I didn't fancy it.
You don't like spiders?
I hate spiders. I've got a job. They asked me last week. Someone had obviously dropped out and they said, "You want to do I'm a Celebrity?" And for 5 minutes, Joe, I was in a world where I was going to go and do it and I was going to go and stay in the jungle.
What money you could have earned?
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. But, Joe, do you know what? I'd have missed you guys.
Well, there you go.
I would have missed you guys. That's why I said no. Joe, thank you very much. It's true. They asked me and I said no. It's a poor lineup, isn't it? It's a poor lineup. Edwina Curry, Michael Burke, Vicky Michelle from A Lower Low, a motorbike man, a football man, and some women with big boobs. That's it. That's the lineup. Poor. Very, very poor, isn't it? I don't mind I'm a Celeb. I used to like Big Brother when I was paid for it. Now I'm not. They can get knotted. No, I kind of like I'm a Celeb, but this is really quite a dull... Where are the characters? Where's the Johnny Rottens? Where's the Gillian McKeiths? Where's the Paul Burrells? There are no characters. 03453 009956. BBC WM 95.6. Here's Matthew with the travel.
Around Aston this morning, the Aston Bridge Road still closed just off from Dartmouth Circuit. It's all for the roadworks taking place. Great Bridge has cones as well on the Black Country New Road, the A41, just by the navigation roundabout at the A461. Also, bear in mind, the motorway is the M42, a little bit busy northbound from 5 up towards Junction 6. A lot of traffic coming off at Junction 6. Looks like it's events being held at the National Exhibition Centre, which is the cause of that congestion. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel on 08453 0022 88.
Middleton, Mile Moseley, Oldbury, Pattingham.
Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM 95.6.
03453 009956. It's one of those shows today where we throw stuff out and we may talk about it, we may not talk about it. It doesn't matter. If you've got stuff that you want to talk about, then give us a call. And maybe we will. But I'm a celebrity this year. Very poor lineup. Michael Burke looks good with a beard. Edwina Curry, I mean, I've had enough of her, really. I'm bored of curry. Not eating curry. I had a great lamb curry last night. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. But I'm bored of Edwina Curry. Who else is in there? Burke? Boobs? There's Burke, Boobs and Bikes. That's it. 03453 009956. What do you reckon, Terry?
Oh, you couldn't pay me enough money to watch I'm a Has-Been revitalise my sagging career. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm just dumbstruck with amazement. They asked me to go in it. You know why celebrities go in it? It's not necessarily to revitalise their career. It's because it pays tens of thousands of pounds.
I still wouldn't do it. I can't eat spiders.
No, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. When you go in for the interview, right, to talk about doing it, as I did a few years ago, they kind of say casually, so what don't you like? Now, I don't like spiders. I like snakes. I flipped it. I said, oh, I hate snakes. Oh, God, please, if I went in there, you wouldn't give me snakes, would you? You could see their eyes lighting up with glee, and then you write it down. But I don't mind spiders. I mean, spiders are fine. People who are scared of spiders are babies. That's how you play it, Tez.
Mind you, if they let me fry and eat Ant and Dec, I'll probably go on it. I can't stand them.
Oh, are you not happy that Ant or Dec is getting married to a lady?
I couldn't care less.
Oh, Terry, what's your beef this morning? Why are you so grumpy?
I'm not grumpy. You know, Ant and Dec, they make you believe that everything they do is spontaneous.
Yeah.
It's obvious it's so over-rehearsed.
But that's their great skill, is that people think it is spontaneous when it's all scripted. Every little giggle, every little corpse is we're back to Quincy again, is planned and rehearsed. And that's the skill. I think Ant and Dec are brilliant.
I'd rather have Dick and Dom. They are brilliant.
Dick and Dom?
Yeah, in the bungalow. You know, years ago, and we both turned it down. I was asked to go on Big Brother about 7, 8, 9 years ago. We both turned it down, me and my mate Steve.
Why were you asked to go on Big Brother?
Because he worked in a club, and one of the producers used to go in there, and he got to know, and he just asked us point blank. And we said, well, why do you want us to go on? He says, well, 1 minute you love each other and you're all over each other. Next minute you're scratching each other's eyes out. And we just said no.
You haven't got any. How do I say this when there's a child looking at me? Cojones.
Pardon?
Yeah, you haven't got any cojones.
Any what?
Cojones. I'm having to couch my language. I've got a young lady watching me through the window.
Yeah, but she can't hear unless you've got the speaker on.
Her dad's nodding. Yes, she can hear. Watch it, sunshine, or I'll come and give you a wallop. Sorry, Dad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sweetheart.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have a child there with an adult programme. This is not exactly Jack and Ori, is it, mate?
Daz has brought his beautiful young daughter in. It's always a pleasure to see her. But now, listen, Terry. So if you don't like Ant and Dec, then who do you like on television?
Stephen Fry.
Oh, blimey. I'm bored of Fry.
Well, I suppose so. I don't know, really. I just watch a lot of old stuff.
Hey, here's a good story, right? I'm chill alive, right?
Yeah.
Dead pensioner wakes up in morgue fridge.
Oh, my God.
This could happen to you, Terry, because you're a gran of 91. a few years younger than you.
Yeah.
Survived 11 hours in a morgue. Lots of dead bodies on the show today. Isn't that weird?
Well, I do like Diagnosis Murder and Murder, She Wrote.
Oh,
stuff like that.
I love Diagnosis Murder.
And Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries.
I don't know what that is.
It's an Australian one, and there's one with Diana Rigg, Miss Bradley's Mysteries.
I don't like any of these Miss programmes, but I do like Dick Van Dyke.
I know.
And I love the fact that Diagnosis Murder, everybody in the show is a Van Dyke.
I know, he's got his sons, son-in-law, his sister.
Nothing wrong with a little bit... I nearly said the wrong word. Nothing wrong with a little bit of nepotism.
No, you're going to hate me for doing this.
I hate you anyway, Terry.
No, there's no inference.
Uh-oh.
But did you see the one I've TiVoed it to keep?
Yeah.
When Dick Van Dyke played 4 members of his own family.
Oh, no.
The old granddad and the inventor and his...
I did not see that. That sounds wonderful.
I know, he even plays his sister. I've got it on TV.
Okay. If we're playing Diagnosis Murder Top Trumps, did you see the one where there was a real ghost in it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a real ghost.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Terry, bye-bye.
You take care.
So, I'm Chill Alive. Dead pensioner wakes up in morgue fridge. 03453 009956, by the way, if you want to give us a call about I'm a Celebrity, cruises, or old men in the army. Or dead pensioners in morgue fridges. A gran of 91 survived 11 hours in a morgue fridge after she was wrongly declared dead. Staff only realised she was still alive when they saw her body bag twitching. Oh, my gosh. Don't worry, it's not in this country. Where is it? Poland. I only want to help you, Poland. Janina Kolkiewicz was treated for dehydration and given a blood transfusion before returning home. Niece Bogomila, my first wife was called Bogomila, said when she arrived back she was frozen stiff, but we gave her a cup of tea and that cheered and warmed her. I also gave her 2 pancakes. Those Poles are crazy. Janina had been pronounced dead by the family's doctor, Wisław Shish, called after she was found on the floor at home in Poland. I only want to help you, Poland. Dr. Shish said there was no pulse, no sign of breathing, and no heart rate. Her eyes were open, but they were not responsive to light. So I wrote the death certificate. The body was taken to a nearby morgue, and the distraught family gathered to discuss the funeral. Bogomila said... Flipping it. At about midnight, there was a knock at the door. There was a man from a morgue who told me there'd been a mistake and my aunt was alive. 03453 009956.
November 21st, 1974.
We sat, I think, in the car on the Coventry Road, waiting to see if she'd walk out.
The Birmingham pub bombings killed 21 people. 200 more were injured.
And of course, then she never came out. So when we went home, and I sort of knew, I think I knew then, that she was never going to come out.
This week, in a series of exclusive interviews, Unheard Voices relive that night.
Well, my hair had been burned off. I'd got shrapnel through under my armpits.
This Friday night, on the 40th anniversary, hear a special documentary from 8.
There was a massive sound. I had no idea it was a bomb.
The Birmingham pub bombings, 40 years on. All this week on BBC WM 95.6.
Gosh, that's going to be an interesting listen, isn't it? 03453 009956. I'll be honest, it's a little bit quiet on the phones today. Have I said something wrong? Is it because I wasn't here for 2 weeks? Have I upset you? Don't be upset. I had laryngitis for 1 week, and then I was in Hull for the other week. I'd rather have had laryngitis for 2 weeks. Ever been to Hull? Don't bother. I mean, really? It's cold, it's wet, it's miserable, it's grey, and that's just the people. 03453 009956. I'm quite happy to talk to myself for the next 2 hours and 6 minutes. It would be better if you called in, though. Can I play my cynical card? Yes, I think I can. Great interview in the papers today with Linda Bellingham's husband. Linda Bellingham, of course, died a couple of weeks ago because of cancer. Great interview with her husband. Very moving, very powerful. Very sad time for the gentleman and for all the family and friends. Of course it is. OXO are showing a classic Linda Bellingham OXO family advert from 1984 on Christmas Day. And this was kind of being celebrated as being a great, wonderful, generous, kind thing that OXO were doing. Hundreds of thousands of her fans had campaigned for this to happen. Now, cynical old me doesn't think it is a particularly nice thing to do. You know why OXO are doing it, don't you? You know why OXO are doing it, don't you, Vicky?
Why is that, dear?
To sell more OXO. That's what they're doing.
Like?
That's what they're doing. That's why they're showing this Linda Bellingham advert that would have cost them a fortune to buy that advertising space on Christmas Day. They're doing it to sell more OXO. They're not doing it out of respect or out of love.
No, that's right. It's all about making money, isn't it?
It's all about making money. And I hate it. I hate being able to see my strings being pulled by the puppet masters.
Right.
What it's going to do is people are going to be crying on Christmas Day and going, oh, wasn't she wonderful? Pass the OXO, darling. That's what it's for, isn't it?
Yes, if you like.
Am I being too cynical there?
Yes.
Why do you think they're doing it then?
Well, you know, it's Christmas time and Linda Bellingham and OXO. It all goes together. You know, if they want to make more money, well, so be it.
Does Linda... listen, I had a lot of respect for Linda Bellingham, an incredibly brave woman. I wouldn't wish what happened to her or her family on anybody. And say, great interview with her husband. But I don't associate Linda Bellingham with Christmas.
No.
Really?
No.
And I don't like the fact that the advertisers are being all cynical and trying to tug at the strings of my heart.
And that's what they're doing.
03453 009956. What you got for us, Vicky?
Right, you're on about cruises.
Yes.
My brother's a bachelor. He's 75.
Oh, hello.
He lives on his own.
Yes.
And he's plenty of money.
Yeah.
And he goes on a cruise 2 or 3, 4 times a year. He's going Christmas. He's got someone to look after him. He doesn't have to think about cooking.
Who's looking after him?
On the cruise.
Oh, the chefs and things?
Yeah.
Does he go on the cruise on his own?
Yes.
Over Christmas?
Yeah.
On Christmas Day, he's going to be on a boat?
He's on a boat.
Oh, that's so sad, Vicky.
No, it isn't sad. No.
He's going to miss the OXO advert?
No. No, he isn't. No, he loves it. And I know that he's being looked after because he'll come to me for his dinner and then he'll go home and that's it.
Did you not ask him to spend Christmas Day with you, or is he a pain in the backside?
No, he isn't a pain in the backside. I have him to my house for the weekend. He's lovely and I love him to bits.
Blimey.
But he loves it and I know he's being looked after.
But there must be a part of him when he sinks into his bed, not into the bottom of the sea, hopefully. He sinks into his bed on Christmas Eve night and Christmas Day night, Boxing Day, where he must think, where did it all go wrong?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
All right, I'll let you say yes and I'll say no.
Yes.
As long as I know he's happy, that's all I'm worried about.
Vicky, thank you very much indeed. 03453 009956. Here's another element to this conversation. I can't understand why people go away for Christmas. On Christmas Day, I want to be in my house. I want to wake up in my bed. I want Father Christmas to have been left a few things in the boys' bedrooms and then been downstairs. I want to go to my kitchen to make my coffee. I want to I want to be in my house. Why do some people... We'll go on cruises, go abroad, go on holiday on Christmas Day. Are you nuts? 03453 009956. Cruises, Christmas, the army, I'm a celebrity, and Linda Bellingham and the OXO ad. They're not doing it out of respect. They're doing it to sell OXO.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.
It's bang on 10 o'clock. Let's get the news now. Here's Nicole Pullman.
It's been said that a former MP and journalist can reveal nothing new about the 1974 Birmingham pub bombings. World in Action journalist Chris Mullin played a leading role in the release of the Birmingham Six in 1991 and said he'd spoken to the real bombers. It's 40 years since it happened, and a lawyer acting for the family of one of the 21 victims says he should now reveal those names. But Mr Mullin has always said the authorities have known the names since 1975 but can't admit it. Dennis Murray is the BBC's former Northern Ireland correspondent.
Because of the Good Friday Agreement, anyone who committed a paramilitary crime prior to the Good Friday Agreement will serve a maximum of 2 years. And Chris Mullin, even though he was an MP, is to, his toenails a journalist. And a journalist never reveals his sources. And the only people who know for certain are the Provisional IRA, and they are never going to say who was involved in that. And I realise that's hurtful for the families, but I think it needs to be said.
Leaders of the world's most prosperous nations are meeting in Australia for the G20 summit. Speaking ahead of the meeting in Brisbane, the UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon called on those attending to step up to the challenge proposed by Ebola and climate change, and he urged them to work together to help restore stability in Ukraine.
The continuing conflict and tensions and violence in that southeastern area of Ukraine is not helpful at all for not only world peace and security, but world economy. This has global implications in all aspects.
The European Space Agency says the Philae lander has stopped transmitting information from the comet on which it landed on Wednesday. It's gone into standby mode in order to conserve its remaining energy. It had earlier sent a burst of data from samples it scooped up from the comet's surface. This year's Children in Need appeal on BBC One has set another record-breaking target, raising more than £32 million so far, £1 million more than last year's total on the night. Dozens of celebrities took part in the 6.5-hour show, including Susan Boyle and One Direction. Sir Terry Wogan hosted the marathon for the 35th year in a row.
When I started in 1980, on that night, we made $1 million. To think that we've got 760 million. And if we're lucky, and the British public, as they always do, respond as magnificently as they do, then we could reach the billion.
The weather cloudy with isolated showers and a top temperature of 12 Celsius, 54 Fahrenheit. Patchy rain this evening and tonight with lows of 4 Celsius, 39 Fahrenheit. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The Voice. The Voice. The Voice. The Voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
You should take in other religions and treat them as you would want to be treated yourself.
We are even more intelligent. They treated me with the utmost respect.
Iain Lee, Saturdays
9 till 12.
BBC WM 95.6.
Morning, Iain Lee, BBC WM 95.6. So what have we spoken about so far? You can join the army if you're in your 50s now. Well, does that make you feel safe? Does it, Grandad? Cynical adverts at Christmas. I'm not buying the Linda Bellingham OXO advert being done out of the kindness of OXO's heart. Do you know how much advertising space costs on Christmas Day? They're not doing it as a tribute. They're doing it to, guess what? Sell OXO. Poor line-up on I'm a Celebrity. I turned it down. What have you turned down? Cruises. That was it. What's the point in cruises? 03453 009956.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453
009956.
BBC WM
95.6.
When did Christmas adverts start becoming... they start making them so you cried? It's always the John Lewis advert. It's the Sainsbury's advert this year. Scott has tweeted me, I preferred adverts when they tried to sell you stuff without being poignant. That Sainsbury's one where they cash in on the war dead. They can... Oh, blimey, he's used some very strong language here. They can go away. And that flipping penguin. Then he's used some strong language again. I've not seen either of these adverts, but I'm not upset about the advert. This is a Sainsbury's advert, isn't it, where they recreate the scene of World War I. where on Christmas Day the Germans and the English come out and play football. Well, no, hang on. That's the advert where they recreate the scene of the Paul McCartney video, Pipes of Peace. I'm not worried about that, Scott. Don't get your knickers in a twist about that. They're not cashing in on the war dead. They're recreating an historical pop video. What's your beef, dude? Bernard's in Burntwood. Morning, Bernard.
Good morning. You know me, don't you? I'm the steel guitar man.
I know you because every time you come on, you say, you know me, don't you? I'm the steel guitar man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, something entirely different. I don't know whether you'll get any answers to what I'm going to say, but I find it very irritating. I think you would agree with me that we're the poorest linguists on this earth. We can't speak other people's languages. A lot of us can't. I can't.
Yep.
But we can't even speak our own language.
Oh.
Now, I'll give you an example. The BBC, many years ago in the 50s and that, they used to advertise the Radio Times. It was threepence.
Yes.
But Auntie BBC didn't say threepence. It was always threepence.
Threepence?
Threepence.
Yeah, threepence is how you pronounce it, Bernard.
Anyway...
No, hang on a minute. Threepence is how it's pronounced.
Yeah, OK.
That's a quirk of the English language.
Most people say threepence, don't they? But
no,
anyway...
I've never heard anybody say threepence. I've only ever heard people say threepence. I bet you say Brisbane.
Sorry?
Anyway, carry on.
Anyway, there's lots of people come on. You might even use some of the words yourself, pronouncing the words like I'm going to explain. But I even heard a German the other day, and instead of saying the word we're going to, everybody says we're gonna. Well, a gunner's a man in the army.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanna instead of want to. I ought to instead I ought to.
Yeah.
And then it goes on, and I think it's very bad English. I mean, I don't speak posh, but people that speak very, very posh, overdone English is just as bad as not speaking proper
hang on,
English.
so you don't like the people that do speak proper, and you don't like those people
no,
that don't speak common?
I didn't say proper, I said posh.
So you don't like the Queen?
Well, I don't like how they speak now.
It's her English.
People that go, some of the professors and all people like that.
Imagine owning not only a religion but also owning a language. How cool would that be, Bernard?
No, but I'm only trying to explain that how it's changed from the days when I grew up. Well, the words they used to say. Why do they say "gonna" first instead of "going to"?
Here's something. You know, you're not allowed to swear on the radio.
Yeah.
I heard the strongest swear word in the world on Radio 4 the other day in the daytime.
Well, I'm not into swearing myself. You won't believe it, but I've never been a swearing man.
Oh,
I think it's an idle way of expressing one's feelings.
Come on, Bernard.
To swear.
Bernard, you telling me you've never sworn?
I've never been a swearing man in my life.
That is utter guff. A well-timed, and I'm not encouraging people to do it now, a well-timed F-bomb or S-bomb, you know the words I'm referring to there? I think it can add weight to an argument, it can make a joke funnier, it can be shocking, it has all kinds of use.
Well, why is it then, years ago, you'd hear say man using F-words and that, he said, oh, but I never say that in front of the children or the wife.
Yeah, well, I don't say it in front of the children. I say it in front of the wife, particularly when she's not cooked my supper properly, that's a joke. I don't say it in front of the kids. Although once I forgot I had the kids in the back of my car, right? And someone cut me up and I used a bad word. And my boy instantly repeated that word and said, Daddy, what's a... And I went, it's a male hen.
Yeah.
I got out of it.
Yeah.
It was short for cockerel. But he was banned, and I was trying to... It was like that scene in Meet the Parents 2, where the first word the baby says is a swear word, and so he's trying to get him to forget that word.
Yes.
Yes.
I understand what you're on about.
OK, Bernard. Well, I feel this conversation has fallen flat at the end.
Yeah, OK then.
Ta-ta. 03453 009956. It's an odd show today. I don't feel we've quite... It's not a bad show by any stretch of... I don't feel we've quite got to maximum velocity yet. Let's hopefully Diane can lift us. Good morning, Diane.
Good morning.
What would you like to say?
On about Linda Bellingham and the Soxo advert.
Oh, yeah.
If you were watching, or somebody was watching Loose Women in the week...
Yeah.
Linda always loved Christmas.
Yeah, so do I.
And she wanted to see another Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's not the BBC or ITV that have done this, or Oxo that have done this advert. It's what her fans wanted as a tribute to her to be shown on Christmas Day.
Right, they could have looked it up on YouTube.
it's what they wanted.
Okay, here's something. You can be a fan of One Direction. You can be a fan of Muhammad Ali. You can be a fan of Steve McQueen. Can you be a Linda Bellingham fan?
Yes. Yes.
So how many of her fans wanted to see this advert on Christmas Day?
I don't know. I haven't got the number. I haven't
Okay.
got the,
and so
the answer to that,
so OXO are doing this just to please her fans.
Yeah. If
Do you
okay, so
Diane,
sell,
you don't really believe that, do you?
Yeah. If they sell extra OXO, then fair, then so be it.
Oh, you don't believe. Listen, prime time Christmas Day advertising space is gonna cost a fortune. Sorry, Bernard. You can't genuinely believe, Diane, that in this capitalist world we live in, OXO are doing it purely out of the kindness of their own heart.
Partly.
Oh, Diane. Well, I wish I lived in the world you live in.
But that's what they wanted. It was what the fans wanted as a tribute. And to be honest, whether OXO make more money,
of course they'll make more money.
The fact that it's a tribute to her, and that to me is good.
But why? If it's a tribute to her, why don't OXO then give all of the money they make to cancer charity?
Then they do. We don't know yet.
No, we do. They won't. They'll give some of it, but they won't give all of the money they make to cancer charity. That would be a tribute. That would be a great tribute, wouldn't it?
Would be. Yeah.
Would be better than showing an advert.
But they don't have to give anything to it.
No, they don't have to. They don't have to show the advert if they don't want to. They're doing it so that you and I talk about OXO on a BBC radio station. They're doing it so that when you're in the shops, you go, "Oh yeah, OXO. I think I'll buy some."
I wouldn't.
Oh, blimey! All right, Diane. Thank you very much indeed. 03453 009956. Mohammed's on the line.
Hello, you know me, don't you?
Well, yes.
I'm not the steel guitar man.
No, yes, exactly. You're the only one that doesn't play the steel guitar here. Yes, go on. Oh, I must have said something rude because the phones have just gone mental. Something's happened.
Do you know something? I think it's better to listen to you down the phone line than
Why? Does it sound better?
It does, actually, yeah. I could hear that woman getting very irate with you, like, you know.
It's a cynical ploy by OXO to sell more OXO.
Of course it is.
We're talking about OXO on the BBC now.
You don't think they put that penguin on the television so everybody will turn up at the zoo, did you?
I've not seen this penguin advert. What does the penguin do?
I don't know. It's about a little boy and he's sitting at the table and then he's giving the penguin something to eat. I didn't watch it fully, and it's supposed to be sad, but I just thought it was a bit cute, but not sad or funny or I don't know.
When did the Christmas advert become so cynical? Back in the day, it was the Argos catalogue, and they'd show like the A-Team figures and some Star Wars figures, or it was a celebrity going into Tesco's. Now it's their short films that are designed to make you cry.
The films are made to make you think of the shops where they came from.
Of course they are. They're adverts.
That's all it is. Christmas is very cynical all the time now. I never grew up liking Christmas at all. Like, you know, I mean, it was just a bad time all round for me with my family, like, you know, family life and that.
Christmas is hard work. Listen, I love Christmas. It's hard for a lot of people. I've just had a message from two callers who don't want to...
Danny Kelly said he'd like Christmas all the year round. My God.
Danny Kelly's a plum, isn't he? We've had two callers who don't want to come on, Mohammed, who say that OXO are donating money made from the Christmas campaign. Yeah, I said that.
Well, you know,
but we don't know how much.
mentioned something there which made me smile when you said, are you a Linda Bellingham fan? You said to that lady.
Yeah.
And immediately I thought, no, a lot of young men my age used to think I was a Linda Bellingham fancier.
Linda Bellingham was, at all stages of her career in life, a very beautiful woman.
Very gorgeous lady,
Beautiful woman. And this is there'll be people who are hearing something I'm not saying. People will think I'm knocking her. Not in the slightest. I have the greatest of respect for her and for her family.
She's a lovely lady.
Wonderful actress, wonderful presence, and it's sad that she's gone. But I do think what OXO are doing is very cynical.
OXO is using her now.
Yeah, I think
obviously,
so.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one.
Mohammed, I've got to move on. Thank you very much. 03453 009956. Gemma, Bill, stay there. We'll come to you after this. Let's get the travel news now. Here's Matthew.
Motorways this morning and the M42 quite busy, in fact, leading up towards Junction 6 on the northbound side from 5. It looks like it's the events at the NEC leading to a bit more traffic than usual in the area. Quite busy for Wychbold, traffic northbound on the A38 as you head up towards the Swan Lane turn, and also troubles through Aston for the Aston Bridge Road. It's closed just off from Dartmouth Circus as those repairs continue. Don't forget, if you're making your way in towards Birmingham City Centre this morning, it's the Frankfurt German market in force. That's led to a bit more traffic than usual, but for the moment, routes like the Hagley Road, Bristol Road, etc. seem to be doing OK. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel on 08453 0022 88.
Blackpool is that bit of magic. It is beautiful.
It's a very scary space to walk into.
Because it's the mecca of ballroom.
You feel twice as nervous. Great energy. It does send a buzz around everybody.
Blackpool puts an enormous amount of pressure on the celebrities.
It gives the performance and the dancer an extra level of excitement.
Oh, it's great. Strictly, I love ya.
Weekends are made for dancing. Strictly Come Dancing, live from Blackpool. Tonight at 7 on BBC One and BBC One HD.
03453 009956. Cruises, OXO, Christmas, joining the army, and nose jobs coming up very, very soon. Before that, though, Bill's in Cannock. Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Ian.
Great to talk to you, fella.
With you.
Excellent to have you on board, sir. What would you like to say?
The validity of international law.
Yes.
Right, now, right at this very minute, there are two massive countries in this world breaking international law.
Yeah.
Blatantly.
Right.
Namely, Russia.
Yes.
And China.
Okay.
And they're still getting foreign aid from us.
Yeah.
And not too long ago, America not only broke international law, they broke the Human Rights Act.
Okay.
By invading Pakistan and murdering bin Laden.
Okay.
Now, I know this guy had got to be took out because he was an evil individual. And if somebody gave me a gun and he was in my sights, I would have shot him.
Okay, so you would have murdered him. Okay, yeah.
But America wasn't taken to task for what they did.
Right.
Was they?
Okay.
And also,
I've got no idea where this is going, but let's
if
see.
other countries in Europe have got jihadists fighting abroad,
got what?
Do you think they're going to let them back in?
They got who fighting abroad?
If other countries like France, Germany, Spain, if they've got Muslim jihadists fighting in Iraq,
jihadists,
and they want to come back when it's all over,
right,
and they're running for their lives because they're going to be shot,
yes,
right, by American forces, do you think France and Germany and Italy are going to allow them back into their countries? No, they'll be declared stateless.
Well, no, but Bill, but you can't just rush. You just rush. You've tried to sneak that through customs there, that little line.
What's that?
They can't make them stateless.
They will.
How do you know that?
Because that's the way they act.
No.
They act.
Bill,
they act
Bill,
to preserve their own state.
Bill, what examples have you got of those countries you just cited making people stateless?
None at the moment.
Thank you very much indeed, Bill. So you don't know that that's what they will do.
Well,
you've just made that up.
Right. France have broken the international law when they blockaded the ports.
Okay, but that's
stopped us.
That's it. But okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to make people stateless, which they're not allowed to do. Yeah, they've broken one international law.
They will, because they know full well that this little country on the other side of the channel will take them in.
No, now you're confusing. Now you're confusing two different things. We're not going to Bill. We're not going to take in French nationals that the French won't allow in.
We've taken in Syrian nationals that the Syrians don't want.
Yeah,
we've taken in Iraqi nationals the Iraqis didn't want.
What we've taken in...
We was even offering asylum to bin Laden's family.
Bill, can I get a word in? Because you're talking... you really are confusing two stories, and you sound a little bit silly. So...
No.
You are. We are not going to take in French nationals, French people with French passports that the French don't want. We have taken in Syrian refugees and Iraqi refugees who have had to flee their countries because they are fearful of persecution and of their lives being at risk. Do you see the difference?
No.
Then I can't explain it any better than that, Bill.
Because
you probably say Brisbane as well, don't you?
No, I don't.
Good.
No, I say Brisbane.
Which is the correct way to say it.
Very, very childish of you.
Sorry?
right, to take Ranjit to task because of his pronunciation of the word Brisbane.
Pronunciation.
He started going on, Brisbane, Brisbane, where's Brisbane? You know what the chap was trying to say.
Pronunciation.
So why take him to task on it? He was trying to make a valid point,
Yeah.
and all you could do was try to make a fool of him.
Listen, I wasn't trying to make a fool of Ranjit. He does that perfectly well himself, Bill. The word's pronunciation, and I wasn't trying to make a fool of Ranjit. I've just never heard the word Brisbane pronounced Brisbane before. It shocked me to the core.
Well, you knew the place he was speaking about.
Of course I did, Bill. The thing is...
why take him to task on it?
Because I know that Ranjit can take a little bit of banter. He's not a soulless, humourless person.
Well, I have heard Ranjit on your programme before.
Yep, he's a good
lad.
lad.
I know he always comes in for a bit of flack.
Yeah, because most of his arguments are rubbish.
Well, I wouldn't say all his arguments are rubbish.
Nor would I, Bill. Did I say that? I said most of his arguments are rubbish.
Yeah. Well, this is all I wanted to say is, what's your take on the fact that Russia are breaking international law, China are breaking international law?
I think it's very naughty. Shall we ask? I wonder how Ranjit feels about being picked up on Brisbane and Brisbane, because a couple of people have mentioned this. Do you reckon he's upset by it?
I shouldn't think so. I think he's more of a man of it.
Let's ask Ranjit. Are you more of a man of it?
I'm more of a man. Yes, of course I am.
Can I ask you a question, Ranj?
Go on.
Do you have a speech impediment?
No, I don't.
Thank you very much indeed.
Listen, let me finish. you know when you're cornered, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Where I live, there's a road called Brisbane Road, okay?
Brisbane Road,
and most of the people around Smethwick, around Albury, will call it Brisbane. All that you do, you know when I've got you cornered, yeah? You come out with a sarcastic remark to change the subject, because you haven't basically got the intelligence right to cross me. And that's what I said. You know, a few weeks ago, Ian,
you enjoyed this, Bill?
Ian, stop laughing.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
Go
a
on.
few weeks ago, somebody called Matt from the jewellery quarter. He offered you a challenge. He says, listen, you ought to get that Ranjit on your programme and co-host it with you. You know what? Listen, I could run rings round you, mate, because all you do, when you're cornered, yes, I can take banter,
yes,
and so can you. When you're cornered by somebody, either you start going, yes, like you just did with the last caller, or you start using sarcasm. Because I put
I tell you what, Ranjit.
I put a valid point to you.
Here we go,
you know,
Ranjit.
if you leave this country to fight jihad, you have made yourself stateless.
Ranjit, I tell you what, why don't we discuss this like men, okay?
Go on then.
Let's go for a drink in Brisbane Road.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it there, yeah?
Yeah.
Or shall we go to Brisbane Road?
Brisbane, Bane.
Bun.
B-A-N-E.
Bun.
No, listen. You know what? My point I was trying to make to you, when somebody leaves this country to be a jihadist, they've made themselves stateless. So leave them stateless.
Ranjit and Bill, despite the fact you can't pronounce Brisbane, and despite the fact Bill says mispronunciation instead of mispronunciation, both of you are making, emotional points that aren't based in facts.
No, can I just put in there? Ranjit's just made a point that everybody seems to have overlooked. Right? Once they decide to leave this country, they have made themselves stateless.
And leave them stateless.
They've chose it. They are following this chap. I don't know who he is. You see him on the balcony preaching to the converted. Right? He's funding ISA. He's funding this jihadist movement. Let him keep
Jihadist?
Yeah, let him. I don't know who he is.
It's a jihadist movement, and it's Brisbane. Brisbane jihadists. Brisbane jihadists.
Yeah.
Pronunciation.
All
pronunciation.
Right. He has persuaded them to go and fight. They've left this country.
Yes.
They've given up the citizenship.
No, I know your point. No, they haven't given up the citizenship. You can't be stateless.
They've made themselves stateless.
That you can't make yourself stateless. That's not possible.
Turns round and tells them you're stateless when you leave this country. You're stateless.
It's not possible to be stateless.
It is.
Dave's in Albury. Good morning, Dave.
Morning, and it is Brisbane Road, Smethwick, because I lived in Smethwick for years.
Flipping heck. Right, okay. Thank you, Bill. Right, Bill's gone. Right, so it's... Okay, but if you were in Australia and you wanted to get a cab to a town that was spelt the same way as Brisbane Road, what would you ask for, Dave?
Brisbane.
No, you wouldn't. Ranjit, do you see what you've done now?
Yes, because, listen, people like me, keep you in a job because we cause controversy.
You
Right,
cause
listen.
me stress.
We keep you in a job because we give you somebody to argue with.
That's it.
You two have got the same voice.
We haven't. Don't be silly.
This is the same person.
You're going into a conspiracy theory now, mate.
Dave, can you say hello? My name is Ranjit.
No.
Yeah.
What? Who's this?
It's Ranjit. This is.
Hello, Dave.
Hello, Ian.
Hello, Ranjit.
Hello.
Yes, Dave.
Yeah.
No, that's Ranjit speaking.
It's not.
You're both in Oldbury.
We're both in. I'm in Albury. Yeah.
Are you in Oldbury, Dave?
I am.
And Ranjit?
I'm in Albury.
Well, good. Anyone got any idea what just happened there?
Penn, Pensnet,
Rugeley, Redditch,
Rowley Regis. Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM.
95.6.
And yeah, I didn't pick up on the gentleman talking about funding ISAs, which is a great way to save money. Not Linda, Gemma is talking about Linda. Good morning, Gemma.
Good morning.
What would you like to say?
I understand about the OXO. Obviously, the reason why they had it was because she was welcome to any families, and you could actually reflect and think, oh, that's my family on the advert, and, you've got sort of heartstrings there.
Yeah.
But my mum died on the Friday when it was Mother's Day on the Sunday.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, bless her. And it was a Marks and Spencer's advert for Mother's Day, and that absolutely killed me.
I bet it did.
It broke my heart. So I know it was the fans that put it on Facebook, and OXO supported the campaign. But actually, what we should do is reflect on their family and see whether it would be too hard for her family to actually have it.
I wonder, because there is a cracking interview with Linda Bellingham's husband in the Mail, and I've read a lot of it. I've not read it all, and so I don't know. I know she was looking forward to Christmas, but I don't know if he comments on the advert. I wonder if he does. I'm just scanning through it now to see.
And I bet she was looking for Christmas, and that was her goal, wasn't it? My mum had cancer, and they have to have a goal to get through.
Here we go.
To get there.
Here we go. This week it was announced that a 1984 OXO advert starring Linda will be screened in her memory on Christmas Day. Premier Foods, which owns the brand, will also be making a donation to the charity Action Against Cancer. We don't know how much they're making, how much they're donating. At the family's request. Michael, her husband, is sure Linda would have been thrilled, even though she felt the ad campaign had marred her acting career. So the family are happy it's being shown. So that's good. But it still doesn't stop the fact that it's a cynical marketing ploy.
Absolutely. And they are going to make thousands, aren't they, because it's on there. And as you say, she's got Prime TV. It'd be good to find out whether you can find out how much contribution they are going to make to the charity.
Yeah, that would be the thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I think the family are brave allowing it to go on, because to have your mum pop up on the TV continuously, I know you can have the option to turn it off, but to have that, and it is going to be sentimental for them anyway.
Also, the first Christmas when you've lost someone is always particularly hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's your first of everything, especially when you knew that we love Christmas. We got married at Christmas, and Christmas is a big thing. And I said to my kids, if I die, I want the Pogues as my Christmas song. And they were like, you can't, because you'll ruin it for us forever. So, I understand the need of it. But
here we go. Things that have been ruined because someone's died. My dad died. My dad died last year, and I was his second wife, my stepmom. It turns out I didn't know very well at all. Very kindly let me and my sister choose a song to play it was the song as he was being carried into the church, into the crematorium, and we chose "Hello Again" by Neil Diamond. Right? I can't listen to Diamond now. I can never. I love Neil Diamond. I can never listen to Neil Diamond again because he's doing some concerts, and I half-heartedly tried to get some tickets, but it had sold out, and I was relieved because it would have broken my heart.
I agree with you. It's that link, isn't it? So, I think when I saw it in the Facebook campaign and people were saying, I actually thought, I can't sign this because it's me as a daughter missing my mum anyway.
Yeah.
I'll reflect on that. But can I also mention the Sainsbury's advert?
Yeah, go on. This is the World War I advert, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
I think fair play to Sainsbury's. For the past 3 or 4 years, they've supported the Poppy campaign. They've donated every proceeds of that bar of chocolate that they sell to it. So it's not that they've just done it, picked it out of the sky. They've actually done support till up to this year to actually do something. So every time you buy a Poppy, you can remember those that, give us their tomorrows, as they say. And I think they've done it really tactfully.
I haven't seen it, but I don't think it's disrespectful. It's it's an historical event that actually happened, and and Paul McCartney did a pop video for it. Remember Pipes of Peace?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my husband said that. He said, it's like reenacting the video. But you know, we've all this year actually like recognised the 100 years. Local schools have been doing things in there, so this is just like. Well, they could have done it, absolutely ignored it, even though they support the Poppy appeal so much. I quite like it. And the John Lewis advert's quite sweet. It makes you realise that children still need imagination and innocence.
No, you're kind of getting sucked into that. I don't... all these adverts are so that kids go, I want one of them, I want that, can I have that, I want it. That's what it's for. They won't be saying that about OXO necessarily, but... You never know. Gemma, Gemma, nice to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. 03453 009956. I am a cynic. When it comes... I don't feel that the World War I advert is disrespectful to the veterans at all. It's excellent timing. Apparently it's a well-shot advert, and it does all the things it's meant to. It's meant to make you buy that chocolate. It's meant to make you go to Sainsbury's. It's meant to make me talk about it on the BBC. So it's working. So well done them. The OXO advert, I'm not so sure about. 03453 009956. Now, here's a fella that we spoke to a few months ago. Been branded a celebrity wannabe, also been called Britain's vainest man. He's revealed he wants to sue the NHS for £25,000 for botching his nose job that he got on the NHS. 22-year-old Sam Barton from Sutton Coldfield said he decided to sue the NHS because of all the negative coverage he'd received since his case was highlighted, rather than because of the way it looks. Well, we spoke to Sam before, and Sam joins me now. Morning, Sam.
Morning.
So what's your beef? What's going on with the nose?
What's going on with the nose? I don't know, to be honest with you. I think it was a comment that was taken slightly more seriously than I intended, to be honest with you.
So what's happening? Are you going to sue the NHS?
Am I going to sue the NHS? It's been so. Apparently, I'm going to sue the NHS. Last time, after the previous article went out, there was lots of negative comments made towards the nose and towards the way that I look. And I think what people don't realise is that it's the people that make these comments that actually, make people like me go to the NHS and have, such operations on the NHS.
I thought you wanted to have the operations so that you look like Joey Essex.
No. I started having surgery 5 years ago now, which is long before Joey Essex was ever around. Again, that's something else that has taken,
you do have, because I know we've spoken before, Sam, and I thought you were a nice lad, but you do have an agent, don't you, that that is trying to get you showbiz work?
I do have an agent, and I have looked for, Joey Essex lookalike appearances, which is where this has stemmed from. I've also, as I spoke to you last time, I've been out in Magaluf doing Joey Essex lookalike work, so I think that might be where a lot of it's come from. But I've not had the work to look like Joey Essex.
So what have you had done on the NHS? How much has it cost me?
I had, how much did it cost you? I had a reconstruction nose job. I had a private nose job that I paid for myself back in 2012, which unfortunately went wrong. As a result, the NHS paid for the work to be fixed, my nose to be back to normal.
And that would have been about $5,000.
Around £5,500.
Okay, yeah. So I'm confused. Are you going to sue the NHS or not?
I am thinking about it.
Why?
More than anything, just to shoot everyone in the foot that's made the nasty comments, really.
Well, hang on a minute. So you're going to sue the NHS, who gave you a free nose operation because the private one you'd had, which I'm assuming you had the private one done for vanity reasons.
Yeah, the private one was...
Okay, so they fixed up, the NHS fixed up a vanity nose job that you'd had done, and you're suing them...
Up as well. I didn't ask them to.
You're thinking of suing them to shoot everybody in the foot who's been critical about you?
Kind of.
I don't get it. You have to explain it to me, Sam.
Basically, these people make such nasty comments. I'm not sure if you've seen any of them.
Yeah, I did. I saw loads of them when you came on last time. I read your timeline.
On a day-to-day basis.
Sue them.
And it's because of them that people like me, some people do go to the NHS from day dot and have cosmetic surgery because people are so nasty about the way that they look.
You went to the NHS because your original nose job got muffed up and you couldn't breathe properly.
No, the NHS actually offered. I didn't go directly to the NHS.
So the NHS phoned you up and said, "Hey Sam, we've heard that your nose job went really badly.
No.
We'd love to fix it for you."
It wasn't quite like that.
Okay, tell me how it was quite like. Tell me what it was like then. Well, they offered.
I went to the doctors because I couldn't breathe. I just asked them to help me, to be able to breathe, which I don't think is too much to ask for.
No, but the only reason you couldn't breathe is because you'd had a vanity nose job that went wrong. So the NHS helped you breathe.
I couldn't breathe since I was, at school. As a kid, I always had a snotty nose. When I was, in school.
Was it worse after your vanity nose job?
No, it's always been bad. It's always been bad. I've been on medication since I was a child.
Why are you suing the NHS, Sam? What's that got? So some idiots on Twitter say that you're Britain's vainest man, that you look like a plum, that your nose looks ridiculous. Say whatever they say. Why are you suing the NHS? Can you breathe now?
Can I breathe now? No, I do need to. It's another operation that I will have to undergo.
On the NHS?
Maybe.
Oh, flipping it, mate. Come on, listen, I was on your side last time. Now you really are sounding like a plum. Sam, so they've had one operation to help you breathe better. You may have another operation, but because some idiot on Twitter...
In order to make me breathe, I don't need another, I'm not going to have another nose job for vanity.
But because some idiots on Twitter say you look like an idiot, you're going to sue the NHS. I don't understand that at all, sir. Who's told you to do this? Because you're an intelligent young lad. I can't believe this has come from you.
I've been approached. Someone's offered to help me.
Who?
Someone.
Another agent?
You got to say that again, sorry.
Another agent?
No.
A TV company?
A TV company, maybe.
So a TV company... Here we go. Sam, listen, man, I like you. You need to grow a pair and you need to stand on your own 2 feet. A TV company has told you to sue the NHS because they'll get a good documentary out of it and you'll be on TV. Man, you are going to come...
Whether I decide to sue the NHS or not is a different story.
Sam, you are going to come across looking like a complete idiot if you do this.
I think whether I'd sue the NHS, it's down to me, isn't it, really? And I think that people know that, what's being said has been taken completely out of
Well, no, it's
context.
not. You are thinking of suing the NHS. That's not been taken out of context.
I've not woke up one morning and thought, I'm going to sue the NHS. People on a daily basis put words into my mouth. And
people on the internet, right, on Twitter, regularly tell me I'm ugly. Someone said some really rude stuff about me, about my attitude today. They say that I look ridiculous. I've got an ugly face, a weird face. But should I go and sue my mum?
Hello?
Yes. Should I go and sue my mum, Sam, because some people are saying that I'm angry, I'm ugly? Or should I ignore those people? Or I could also report those people?
You could, I've also received a lot of, violent comments, a lot of threats and.
But what's that got to do with the NHS?
It's got nothing to do with the NHS.
But you've just said you're going to sue the NHS to shoot these people who've been critical of you in the foot.
The NHS have also, messed up my nose. It's not like I've just plucked this out the air from nowhere. If you can see clearly on pictures from before and after that my nose is far worse than it ever was before.
But they're going to give you another operation.
Another operation. They may well do. I don't know.
I'm looking at a picture of your nose. Listen, I'm looking at a picture of your nose. What's the picture in the Daily Mirror? This is this is the nose, is it?
I'm not too sure. I've not seen the Daily Mirror. Is that today?
What's wrong with the nose? What's wrong with it? Because it looks like a perfectly fine nose to me.
It looks awful.
No, you see,
it's massive.
Sam, it isn't. It isn't a massive nose. You've got body dysmorphia.
It's suggestive.
Yeah, it has. You don't need. Okay, listen, Sam. As I said, I do like you, and I'm worried about you. I'm genuinely worried about you. Right? Your nose is not massive, but you won't believe that. You can't hear what I'm saying. You think I'm just saying that because what you need is not another nose operation. You need, and I say this with respect, you need psychological help.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do. I think you've got gorgeous nose. You've got a perfect nose.
Thanks, Ian. Thousands of Daily Mail readers, have said that my nose looks awful.
They're Daily Mail readers. Of course they're going to say your nose looks awful.
Yeah, it doesn't look the best, does it? Let's be honest.
It looks beautiful. It's a beautiful nose you've got, Sam.
Thanks, Ian.
You have got body dysmorphia, and what unscrupulous people in your life are doing, I suggest, no names, no pack drill, is they are exploiting your psychological weakness to try and make money for them, and they don't care what you end up looking like, and I don't mean physically.
I think that may be true, but...
Sam, stay there. Kev wants to have a word. Morning, Kev.
Okay.
Morning.
Go on, Kev. What do you want to say?
Well, I had some sympathy there for you, Sam. I haven't seen any pictures. I don't buy newspapers. I'm sorry if you had to have an operation to help you breathe. Well, that's necessary. From what I get now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you had a private operation and that didn't go quite as you wanted. Then you had the NHS put it right, and now you're suing the NHS, which I pay into as a member of the public. So only sometimes you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. So maybe with the best of intentions, the NHS tried to help you out, and it wasn't possible. If you're going to sue the NHS, how about me and all the other members of the public who pay into it? Sue you. Why don't you go after the people that are talking about you?
I think another massive misconception here, which is often documented in the press, and people do often say, why doesn't he go out and get a job?
I didn't say a job. I didn't mention a job. I said if the NHS put right a private operation that you were stupid enough to have and they helped you out, you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear sometimes. So why don't you sue the people that are talking about you, not the people like me who pay into the NHS, who don't know you, haven't seen a picture of you, don't care what you look like. If you have to have an operation to help you breathe, then fair enough. Leave us alone. Sue the people that have been talking nasty about you and buy those rags that you're reading and your pictures in. I think Ian hit it on the head. There's another agenda here somewhere. TV companies that make you money. You sue them, I'll sue you. There you go.
I completely get what you're saying, but as you just said, why don't I sue? I'm taking your money. It's my money as well. I've paid into the system since I left school. And also, I don't, as I said last time I come on the show, I don't smoke. I'm not a big drinker. I don't take drugs. So, some people have to go to the NHS and receive help for things like...
Well, it's interesting you say that, Sam. Kev, thank you for that. Sam, stay there. Ian's on the line. Go on, Ian. What do you want to say?
All I wanted to say, really, Ian, is my missus is waiting for a new hip and 2 new knees, and they're not doing it simply on cost. Now, this fella, bless him, he's obviously got issues, but he's having a nose job done on the NHS, and he's gone wrong, apparently, and now he's suing the NHS, or allegedly, according to the fair.
What did you say your niece was waiting for, sorry?
Sorry?
What did you say your niece was waiting for, sorry?
My wife's waiting for a new hip and 2 new knees, and they're not doing it on cost. The NHS has got no money.
Okay, well, that's a lie for a start. The NHS have got money. I don't understand why. I keep hearing
because
stories.
People like you are having your nose done.
It's not because people like I don't sit in that office and I don't decide who has operations authorised and who doesn't. So I think I think I'm with everyone else. I think it's disgusting that people are turning down work, and I think that they should definitely prioritise. If someone comes to me before I had my nose done in the first, if you have your nose done, then such and such is going to go without their operation. And obviously, in a million years, I never would have had my nose done.
I don't get that. I think somebody like yourself that's that self-obsessed and worried about your own image, I think it'd be, I don't really care about the other person having the operation on you, my nose done. Look, at the end of the day, young man, all you need to do is worry about yourself and not what other people think of you. Other people, you're not going to please all the people all the time.
Well, and that's it. That's a judgment you made after 2 minutes of listening to me on the radio, so I'm not going to be able to turn that round in a couple of seconds, am I?
Oh, I do worry about you, Sam. I'm looking at your nose now. It's a cracking nose, right? You don't need physical operations. You need to go and see a counsellor, and you need to talk this out. And you need, I don't know if your mum is around, I don't know who's around. You need someone, you need a grown-up, Sam, to step in, get all of these leeches that are trying to make money off you out of your life, and you need to go and sort yourself out. You're a good-looking lad. You can't hear what I'm saying. Okay. You can't hear what I'm saying, and I know that.
I completely understand what you're saying, and I have got a mind of my own.
Okay.
And my agent is very supportive. He does guide me in the right direction.
See, you've not heard what I've said. Anyway, Sam, I wish you the very best of luck. Let us know how it goes and what happens.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, mate. Sam Barton. I do worry. I worry about him, and I was angry there, like a dad would be angry with his son. It was an anger of concern. That's what it was. Isn't that interesting, that last line? Well, my agent's looking after me. I have an agent. They look after themselves. That's their job. That's what agents do. That's what agents do. Good luck, Sam. 03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call about that. I don't want to make it a whole let's slag off Sam thing, but I'm keen to get your thoughts. You heard him there. What do you reckon? And I do get uncomfortable with the concept of suing the NHS. But I remember when my little boy was having problems and they muffed up. I can't remember, some notes got lost or we got sent to the wrong place and it delayed everything by quite a long time. And I had to pull out, they weren't sorting things out quick enough. And I found myself saying, well, I think we might have to speak to my lawyers about this. I don't have lawyers. Of course I don't have lawyers. But I did say, I think we might have to speak to my lawyers about this. It sped things up. Would I have done it? I don't know. But your thoughts on suing the NHS? 03453 009956. BBC WM 95.6, here's Matthew with the travel.
Just around the Kerdworth direction, at the Kerdworth Island, in fact, above junction 9 of the M42. Lee called us a wee bit earlier to say the traffic lights are out of action, so that'll be the cause of some disruption coming on and off the M42 at junction 9. Staying with the M42, busy around the NEC, events being taken... I'll try that again. Events being... still can't say. The M42 around the NEC, that's finally there now. It's busy. There's events taking place. As a consequence of that, 5 up towards junction 6 on the northbound, a busy one today. Busy also for traffic through the Wychbold direction, A38, much busier than usual, and of course events taking place in Birmingham city centre today. Predominantly the German Frankfurt market is in force. That's led to a bit more traffic than usual. For the moment, the Hagley Road is running okay, no great problems on the A38, but I dare say that'll get a little bit busy later on. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 on 08453 002288.
The voice of Birmingham in the Black Country.
BBC WM
95.6.
I was just speaking to producer Joe. We're both not quite sure if the show's any good or not. Neither of us in control. It really is random. We're just flying through hyperspace and we've forgotten how to fly the ship. That's what it feels like. 03453 009956. We'll have a little recap in a few minutes of what we talked about. Where should we go to first? Andy's on the line. Morning, Andy.
Morning, mate. How you doing?
I think I'm all right. What would you like to say?
I want to bring up that lad that's just had his nose show on the NHS.
Yes, Sam, yeah.
Yeah, I got to admit, mate, I want to compare him to Josie Cunningham. Do you know that woman that had the boob job on the NHS?
Oh, yeah, she was... yes, we hated her for a while, didn't we? The woman that had the boob job.
I still do, to be honest.
Why do you hate her?
Mate, she's doing everything to get famous. I'll have an abortion for money. I'll go on Big Brother. She's just a mess.
She didn't have the abortion, did she?
I know she never had it, but just the threat is enough, isn't it? Like, just the threat of it is enough for fame. I mean, for obviously other reasons, then an abortion might be right, but for fame, he's dead wrong, and I think that lad's going down the same path.
But with in respect to Josie, she didn't have the abortion. She didn't have that, so we can't knock her for having an abortion for fame because she didn't have one.
But for fretting about it just to get famous, it was an empty threat in essence. It was an empty threat to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get myself famous. Everybody hates me. She knows what she's doing.
I feel really sorry for Sam, who we just had on, and for Josie Cunningham. I feel sorry for both of them.
I do, because that lad, you can tell. I might be wrong, but to me, he looks like a lad that's gone through school. He's been bullied. He's he's come through low self-esteem, and now everyone's sitting there on the internet, eating pizzas, watching whatever, stressing over the internet, making him look like an idiot. They're spending their whole lives behind a computer screen, making him feel like an idiot and feel worthless. And I think it's a shame.
He is trying to make a career as something. I don't know what. I don't know whether it's a model or an actor or kind of a TOWIE star. I don't know what it is.
I understand chasing your dream, but I've come from a background where if you want to chase your dream, you do it off your own back. You don't get everybody else to pay for it. So I understand that he's got something to do. He wants to go somewhere in life, but you going on, trying to drain the NHS for that. I mean, personally, my granddad's been put in a care home, and my nan's not got much money to pay for it. Yet my nan's got to pay for his care. Yet people like him are getting his nose job done on the NHS. It's vain, isn't it? It's just vanity.
Andy, thank you for that. On one level, it is vanity. On another level, this is why I feel sorry for him and Josie Cunningham to a certain extent. I mean, they're both being exploited, I think, in my opinion. This is what I make up. I think they're both being exploited by the press, by agents, by managers, by whatever. I don't know. But there are people making money off the back of them, right? And also, I suggest they've got a mental illness. They're mentally ill. Speaking to Sam... What do I know? I'm not a psychologist. But speaking to Sam for the 10 minutes there and 15 minutes we spoke to him before, it sounds like he's got body dysmorphia. It was interesting because he said, oh, yeah, someone's mentioned that before. I'm looking at his nose. His nose is great. He doesn't see a great-looking nose. He sees a big, fat nose. He sees a big, fat, ugly nose, which is not there. I think we all have it to a certain extent, body dysmorphia. I think we all have it to one degree or another. But some people have it more than other people. That's one of the anorexias. I can never remember the different types. But person looks in the mirror, they don't see what's there. They see a big fat person, see a big fat lump. And so they control their eating or their vomiting or whatever to try and change that. A lot of it's about control. You can't control external things, but you can control the way you look. 03453 009956. Matt's in Solihull. Morning, Matt.
Good morning. I'm nearly sure you have been on a world cruise, have you?
Oh, no, I've never been on a world
cruise.
Hello.
When you were away for the few weeks.
I did not. I went to bed for a week and I went to Hull for a night.
Very, very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Not the Hull bit.
They're doing the very same things as I do. World cruises wouldn't be my way of life at all. Anyway, we'll go on about people that's ringing in. They're just plain nosy to find out about what happened to his nose.
Oh,
you see?
Matt.
But I'm nearly sure that he's the direct descendant of Dick Barton. If you go back in time,
Dick Barton, special
BBC
detective.
Radio.
Yes.
There used to be a man on one time called Dick Barton, and people were chasing him, and he was half mad. But I think this man with a nose problem is Barton too, and he's direct descendant of him, you see.
Gosh, that really is...
But he shouldn't worry about his nose, because I had a nose something like him one time, but I took up boxing, and I used to box on the fairgrounds, you see, and I soon got my nose straightened. If it was bent one way, the next man that come up and fought me, he put it right again, you see, So I have a lovely nose now, you see, and I'm very, very happy with it.
Were you listening to yesterday's show, Matt?
With Kelly, yes.
No. I'll ask again. Were you listening to yesterday's show, Matt?
No, I wasn't listening to yesterday, no, because I'd be out most of the time.
Okay, right. That's disappointing. I'm on Fridays, 2 till 4 now.
Yes, I know. I don't listen to your programme on that. No, I have a lot of other things to do, chasing women and stuff like that. John.
Okay, that's disappointing. You can listen on iPlayer. Anyway, because I tell you why, because it was BBC Children in Need yesterday, a whole day of enforced jollity.
Yes, I did give money to Children in Need yesterday in Solihull, actually.
Okay, well, it was, people have their own opinions on it. But one of the things that was raised on yesterday's show was how much Terry Wogan gets paid for hosting BBC Children in Need. Lots of people were phoning in, Matt, outraged at the amount of money that they thought Terry Wogan was getting paid.
So I'm not sure, because I don't listen to him. I used to listen to him one time, but I'm not sure about him. But I've heard something about him before, a good while back, that he did get a lot of money for appearing on different shows, like.
Yeah. How much do you reckon he got paid for appearing on Children in Need?
Well, I thought myself that Terry Wogan should be retiring, really, now.
No, he's 86 and he's good, Terry Wogan. But how much? Because we had figures yesterday. People were suggesting £10,000, £30,000, £50,000.
For a show. Well, if he got about 500 quid, he'd be well paid.
Matt, thank you very much indeed. It's really difficult to have a conversation with Matt because he's nuts. I'll tell you after 11, OK? Because we did look into this. I say we, producer Joe did. Excellent work. Because we had lots of people phoning up yesterday suggesting that Terry Wogan got paid £10,000, $20,000, $30,000, £50,000 for hosting Children in Need. And I wasn't sure. And people were phoning up off air saying, look, I know for a fact Terry Wogan gets... What on earth are you doing, Joe? Are you having a day? You're putting makeup on your spot now at 5 minutes to 11? Blimey. People, I know exactly... Terry Wogan earns a fortune for Children in Need. It's disgusting. If you want to have a little guess, why don't you text in your guesses? How much Terry Wogan earns for children in need? 81333. Start your text WM, and we'll find out. Ranjit's in Oldbury. Morning, Ranjit.
It's Dave.
Oh, all right, Ranj. Go on then. I'll pretend you're called Dave then.
Ha, ha, ha. How can two different people, how can the same person be on two different phone lines at the same time?
How can what? Oh, God.
If you said Ranjit was on both phone lines, how can he do that?
Because you weren't speaking at the same time, were you, Ranj? Dave. Ranj,
No.
Dave. Rave,
no,
Rave.
We weren't
Danjit.
speaking at the same time.
No.
How can we be on two different phone lines?
Maybe. Let me think about this, Ranj. You've got two different phones.
No.
Yes.
Anyway, that subject's finished.
Thank you.
About this kid with the nose job.
Yes, Sam Barton.
If we got the money to go and have it done private in the first place, and they made a mess of it, why didn't he go back to them instead of getting the money out of the NHS?
Yes.
When people who really want operations are being told, no, we haven't got the funds.
I don't know.
Well, there's something wrong with the NHS.
Should we be doing nose jobs on the NHS?
Well, there's nothing wrong with his nose. I wish my nose was like his.
He says that the NHS one, because it was to help. Well, he said two different things. First of all, he said it was to sort out the botched up private one, and then he said it was to help him breathe.
Yeah, but if he had the nose job done private, they should have done all that, shouldn't they?
Yeah, you would think so. I do wonder. I don't want to be all Daily Mail about this. He said, thumbing through the Daily Mail.
I think he's got a phobia.
Hello? A phobia of what?
How he looks.
Yeah, I think he has. I think he might have, Dave. Hey, Dave, have a guess. How much did Terry Wogan get paid for doing Children in Need yesterday?
I'd say he got paid about 50 grand for last night.
Dave, thank you very much indeed. 03 453 009956. Here's something. Is this little girl the most pampered baby in Britain? Yeah. Her wardrobe boasts rack upon rack of designer dresses, and her jewellery collection includes £800 diamond earrings and a £2,800 Rolex watch. She surely wouldn't dream of venturing out without her £150 Gucci handbag, and on chilly days wrapping up in one of her 4 £190 cashmere and fox fur capes. The only dilemma... Romany Rose Rowland. Is that her name, or is she a Romany? No, her name is Romany Rose Rowland. Gosh. The only dilemma Romany Rose Rowland, RRR, the 3 R's, might face is which pair of shoes to select from the neat rows of Spark. Basically, she's got a lot of shoes. She's a baby! Her mother... What does this mean? Her mother confesses her ultimate dream is for Romany Rose to be the new Honey Boo Boo. What the hell is a Honey Boo Boo? Flippin' heck, that's terrifying. A Honey Boo Boo. Oh, here we go. A reference to the popular American reality series. Gosh, this is kind of like the following from Sam's story, isn't it? Really? I've never heard of Honey Boo Boo. A reference to the popular American reality series featuring child beauty pageant contestant Alana Honey Boo Boo Thompson. I'll look for... I'm being told to Google images for Honey Boo Boo. I'll have a look during the news. So, 9 prams, 1,500 quid each. Well, prams are expensive. 1,500 quid is an expensive pram. A Rolex watch. This is a baby. This is actually a proper baby. Rolex watch, 2,800. Handbags, shoes, and, here's a phrase, frilly knickers, £2,500. Pageant and party dresses, 150 quid each. Pink bath, 400 quid. There's a picture of her wearing this Rolex watch. It's horrible. And by it, I'm talking about the baby as well as the watch. 03453 009956. We'll look at this story a bit more. Is anyone familiar with Honey Boo Boo? I don't know Honey Boo Boo. It sounds like a horrible name that a businessman might call his mistress. Hello, my honey boo boo. What's the most expensive thing you bought for your baby, please, or your grandchild? 03453 009956. We'll also talk more about cruises, nose jobs, and would you ever sue the NHS?
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.
It's 11 o'clock. Let's get the news now. Here's Nicole Pullman.
The Labour leader Ed Miliband is to accuse some of the country's biggest retailers of Victorian practices for employing thousands of workers on 0 hours contracts. In a speech to be given to the West Midlands Labour Party conference today, Mr Miliband will describe them as bad places to work because most of the workers are not offered guaranteed regular hours. He'll repeat his promise that such contracts would be banned under a future Labour government. It's being said that former MP and journalist can reveal nothing new about the 1974 Birmingham pub bombings. World in Action journalist Chris Mullin played a leading role in the release of the Birmingham Six in 1991 and said he'd spoken to the real pub bombers. It's 40 years since it happened, and a lawyer acting for the family of one of the 21 victims says he should now reveal those names. But Mr Mullin has always said the authorities have known those names since 1975, but can't admit it. Dennis Murray is the BBC's former Northern Ireland correspondent.
Because of the Good Friday Agreement, anyone who committed a paramilitary crime prior to the Good Friday Agreement will serve a maximum of 2 years. And Chris Mullin, even though he was an MP, is to, his toenails a journalist. And a journalist never reveals his sources. And the only people who know for certain are the Provisional IRA, and they are never going to say who was involved in that. And I realise that's hurtful for the families, but I think it needs to be said.
David Cameron has warned Russia it will face further sanctions if it continues to send troops and tanks into the east of Ukraine. The Prime Minister has been holding talks with President Putin at the G20 summit in Brisbane. The former British ambassador to Moscow, Sir Roderick Lynn, says Mr Putin isn't in the mood for listening, though.
Everybody I spoke to in Moscow spoke about the damage, the huge costs of this operation. But everybody believes that Putin is playing a waiting game. He's waiting for a very weak Ukraine to essentially capitulate, and he's waiting until such time as the West lose interest and maybe next year sometime sanctions start to weaken.
It's been another record-breaking year for BBC's Children in Need. The total raised so far in the West Midlands stands at £2,415,285. Nationally, the TV telethon last night raised more than $32 million. It was hosted for the 35th year in a row by Sir Terry Wogan.
We seem to say it every time. We said it last year. But honestly, what a year. Once again, another vintage one. Every year, we seem to get more and more from the generous British public. It's amazing. You're the reason children everywhere in the UK continue to have hope.
The weather cloudy with isolated showers today and a top temperature of 12 Celsius, 54 Fahrenheit. Patchy rain this evening and tonight with lows of 4 Celsius, 39 Fahrenheit. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The Voice. The Voice.
The Voice.
The Voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
You should take in other religions and treat them as you would want to be treated yourself.
We are even more intelligent. They treated me with the utmost respect.
Iain Lee, Saturdays
9 till 12.
BBC WM 95.6.
Thank you, Sam. Sam's just tweeted me. Iain, just to clear up, my operation on the NHS was for both cosmetic and medical reasons. Thank you, Sam. Don't worry about that, lad. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC WM 95.6. Producer Joe is out there, guiding this ship through very murky waters. It's a dark night. I feel like I've been off 2 weeks. I've forgotten how to do this, but more importantly, you lot have forgotten how to do this. Why are you so angry this morning? So, suing the NHS, would you do it? cruises. What is the point of those? Oh, and anything else you fancy talking about. Oh, there was a story in the papers yesterday. Fat people, or a significant portion of them, don't recognise they're fat. It's all kind of tying in. Oh, and what the hell is a honey boo-boo? 03453 00 9956.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453
00
9956.
BBC WM 95.6.
Doreen's on the line. Good morning, Doreen.
I will be, Ian, in a minute.
Where are you?
Come to turn the radio off.
Oh, well, what? Could you not? Oh, blimey.
Well, by the time I picked up the phone and gone to turn the radio off, and I've got 2 radios to turn off, it's time-consuming.
It is your time consuming. Doreen, well, I've been off for 2 weeks, okay, and it feels like everybody has forgotten how to do the radio show.
Well, you don't turn it off before you've got the call through, do you?
Yeah, but you should be ready. You should be anticipating.
I can't be in the kitchen and in the front room at the same time.
Flipping it. All right, Doreen, calm down.
Now you're getting me knickers in a twist now.
Well, take your knickers off. Untwist them and put them back on.
About suing the NHS, I think a lot of people think these surgeons are God. They don't realise somebody's got to die sometime, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I had an occasion where I probably would have been, I did thinking about it afterwards. Could I have sued the hospital? With my husband, he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Went in hospital. Cut a long story short, when we fetched him out, he wanted a wheelchair to wheel him to the car.
Yeah.
And the nurse said, if he needs that, he's not fit enough to go out. But she never come to see him.
Oh.
And he walked out. And at 11:45, he come out at 7:30, 11:45 on the night. He had another heart attack and died. But had he stopped him there, he could have still had a heart attack and he could have still died.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know, you can think, oh well, he might not have lived. You know, was it his time to go? You don't know.
But sometimes hospitals
I mean, if they are blatant, I think.
Yeah, sometimes hospitals muff up, don't they? They get things totally wrong.
Yeah, but thinking about it. If they'd have kept him there, and he hated hospitals, and I often thought, did he come home to die? You know.
Is it ever right to sue a hospital?
It is sometimes, but I think people are too picky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you another occasion. It's been a few years ago.
Please do, Doreen.
Where I had a baby, and I carried it for 10 months, and he died when it was just before it was born because they let me go too far. I should have had it the 16th of September and I had it the 17th of October. And, you know, today people would... That was really a bit of hospital neglect, in a way. You know, because I was fit and healthy. They just kept saying, come back next week.
Doreen?
Yeah?
I kind of tuned out a little bit there. I do apologise. How much do you reckon Terry Wogan got paid for children in need?
I've no idea, but if it's for charity, he should have done it for nothing.
Yeah. OK, interesting. All right, Doreen, ta-ta.
OK, bye.
Bye-bye. 03453 009956 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, you're more than welcome to. Now, there's a story in the newspapers this week that, it kind of piqued my interest a little bit. Do you know that you're fat? A new study suggests that obese people are in denial about being overweight. Being overweight and obese have become so common that perceptions have shifted and people can ignore potential health dangers such as heart attacks, stroke, cancer and diabetes. Well, Catherine Shredecki is a size acceptance manager. Morning, Catherine.
Good morning.
Do fat people know they're fat?
I think so. I think most people get up in the morning, have a good look in the mirror and think, you know, various things about themselves, but I think they're very much aware of what their body size and shape. I don't think it's really possible to be aware.
Because this study that was in the papers yesterday said that a significant number didn't realise that they were overweight.
I take this report actually as being something really healthy in that people are ignoring some of this nonsense that's coming out about obesity and are just getting on with their lives and recognising that they are within a quote-unquote sort of normal range of weight for their body size or body shape, and they're just getting on with it. I don't think people are buying into this nonsense that, you know, we're all going to die because we've got a bit of extra weight on us.
But it is unhealthy to be fat, isn't it?
Not necessarily, no, not at all. Well, I mean, people come in different shapes and sizes. We do.
Yeah, but fat people are. It is unhealthy, isn't it?
No, I won't agree with that at all. There's no stats to really prove that. There's a research that they're bringing out which says we're all getting heart attacks. It doesn't actually bear out in reality, and the research behind it is very flawed. It's normally done on mice or something. It's not actually done.
What about
on
the
human beings.
increased number of diabetics because they're overweight?
10 people get diabetes too.
But you're more likely to get diabetes if you're overweight. That is a fact, isn't it?
Well, no. If you want to believe the research done on
I like to believe the research. Yeah, I do.
Well, then you've got to believe that mice behave in this way. Whether we do or not is going to be a debate we could go on with for a couple of hours.
But
let's just look at the reality of it.
They've looked at the reality of it. If you are a fat person, you are more likely to get diabetes because there are lots of fat people with diabetes that could have been avoided. That could have been avoided if they hadn't been so big.
So what happens with the thin people who've got diabetes? They are a different category, right?
Well, there's nothing. Have they got the same comparison? Have they got the same diabetes?
But often, yes.
Well, how often?
I don't know.
Is it?
That's
I
haven't done.
That's it. You don't know, Catherine. You don't know if there is a correlation between weight or not, do you? Whereas the evidence...
Well, you also don't know how many people out there who are perfectly fit and healthy at a larger size exist. Also, you don't know that. So we're making generalisations that really are based on, as I said, very dodgy research.
Okay, what about the dodgy research, Catherine, then, that suggests that being fat will put more strain on your heart? That's nonsense as well, is it?
You need to talk to the entire England rugby team almost and find out about that, because they're all considered to be obese. They're all classified as obese. They're very fit people.
But you know, Catherine, you know that's not what I'm talking. I'm not talking about rugby players who run around the field. I'm not talking about them. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Fat people.
Yes. Fat people go out and do jobs and they live their lives.
Yeah, I know they do.
They're functioning. They're not sitting at home and doing nothing. They're functioning.
I'm not saying that they're not functioning. I'm not saying that they are, not productive members of society. Of course, many of them are. But also, do you not think it's slightly dangerous to suggest that being fat is not unhealthy, could not cause health problems?
I look at a study called the Flegel study, which was done some years ago, which covered over 30 years on 64,000 people approximately. And I could have got that wrong. It might be more than that. And they did a study to look at mortality, linking mortality with body size. And they found that if you were moderately overweight, you actually survived longer than your thinner counterparts. That's the sort of research I'm looking at. 30 years, that's something to look at. Something that's been done with a couple of lab rats over a period of a couple of months. I'm not interested in, because it doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove the point. All it does is give you some nice banner headlines to splash across a newspaper and to talk about. And is it true or not? Is your GP weight surgery full of people of a larger size? No, it's full of the same demographics on any street, smaller and larger people with health challenges. The health challenges are not the province of the fat. Sorry, but no.
I am... but Catherine, you're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm not saying that just fat people get ill. I've gone to nhs.uk, okay, the website, the NHS website.
Yeah.
Risk factors for type 2 diabetes, and there it says being overweight or obese.
Sure, it's going to say that because that's...
Because it's the NHS website. We have to believe what the NHS says, don't we? They're not going to make stuff up.
Not necessarily, because once you've got someone on diabetes drugs, they're on for life.
Oh.
You've got a customer for life there. But pharmaceutical companies are rubbing their hands together with glee, and everybody's being diagnosed with diabetes and going on diabetes drugs. It is not the case that everybody needs a diabetes drug to handle diabetes.
No, but it doesn't say that.
It
doesn't, Catherine. It doesn't say that. It says a risk factor for type 2 diabetes is being overweight. It's trying to stop you getting diabetes.
Do you know there's a link between diabetes and chlorine? Google that right now.
There's a link between diabetes and ethnicity. It doesn't rule out the fact that. But should we speak to a doctor?
If you like.
Dr. Faye Wilson. Good morning, Dr. Faye.
Hello, a doctor speaks.
A doctor speaks. I'm speaking to Catherine Shradecki, who is a weight image consultant, Dr. Faye, and we're both arguing and we're both kind of clutching slightly at straws from the back of our imagination. Does being overweight, let's start with diabetes, does it increase the risk of having type 2 diabetes?
Yes, it does. But I think I can hear you arguing, and I think you're probably sort of not slightly arguing about the same thing.
Okay, go on. Set us straight.
Even if you're feeling well now and you're overweight, being overweight increases your risk of a variety of other things. So you might be feeling well now, but it's tomorrow that we're thinking about.
Well, Catherine, your reaction to that, because you don't think that's true.
No, I think that there are a lot of larger people out there that are functioning perfectly healthily, and I don't think this is a bit of a slur on larger people who are functioning perfectly well. I don't see why there has to be these huge generalisations and everywhere has to be... it's a scare story as far as I'm concerned.
Catherine, Faye, can you just both wait there 30 seconds? I've got to do a little bit of business, and I'll come back to you. This is great, and Faye, I really appreciate the fact that you've kind of joined us at short notice. 03453 009956 if you want to join in. Let's get the travel news now. Here's Matthew.
A lot of traffic trying to get towards the NEC events today. As a consequence, the M42 northbound busy from 5 towards Junction 6. Around the top of Junction 9 of the M42 at the Coleshill Island, looks like the traffic lights are out of action. A bit more traffic expected than usual in towards Birmingham for the Christmas market events taking place this week. And still works in Aston for the Aston Bridge. Still close for works just off from Dartmouth Circus. If you can update us, 08453 002288.
iPlayer leaves on the line and...
Overrunning engineering works.
iPlayer being told...
Your call is important to us.
For the 50th time. iPlayer being kept awake by the local wildlife's nighttime activities. For the third time this week. And iPlayer taking ticket number 93, just as you hear...
Ticket number 7, come to the counter, please.
BBC iPlayer, BBC Radio and TV, always there when you need it.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC WM 95.6. There was a study in the papers, I think yesterday, suggesting that some larger people don't know that they're large, that they're overweight, they're obese, they're fat. It's got us talking about the potential health dangers that may or may not exist for larger people. I'm joined by Catherine Shradekia, size acceptance campaigner, and also Dr. Faye Wilson, who's a GP in Birmingham. So, Catherine, let me just get this right. Are you saying that larger people are not at higher risk of heart attacks, stroke, cancer and diabetes?
I'm saying that the risk factors have been very much overplayed because there is an awful lot of profit into it. I think that there is a predominance of larger people who are living perfectly healthy, normal lives, same as anybody else, and the illness is not the province of the fat. People get heart attacks if they're thin or they're fat.
But there's
people
more chance...
get cancer if they're thin. Listen, no, there's not more chance. There's an average chance throughout the country. There's so many factors which go into somebody actually getting cancer. There's so many other factors. So genetics, there's environmental issues, there's all kinds of other issues. Just to say you are fat and therefore, I think is a huge generalisation. I think it does a lot of people a great disservice.
Let's go to Dr. Faye. Dr. Faye, there's not more chance of getting these things if you're overweight.
Well, you know that's true, and I think Catherine knows that's not true as well. It's a bit like, I'm a larger person, and the fact is, I know I'm overweight. I know I want to do something. There's all sorts of reasons. It's a bit like smokers who say, it's not true, you know, people who don't smoke get lung cancer as well. And I think it's a form of denial. And actually, what we've got to do is we've got to celebrate how we are, and we've got to say we want to be well. I want to be well in 10 years, 20 years or so on. Most of us who have some challenge or other kind of put off doing something about it until we develop a problem. And for some people, that's a really serious problem. For other people, it's not so serious. But I think we can't just blinker ourselves. We have got to say, look, this is the evidence. What can we do about it? How can we help?
Do you think Catherine and her attitude is helping, Faye, or is it slightly a dangerous attitude to have?
I think Catherine's trying to help people accept themselves. You've got to be able to accept yourself first before you can move forward. I think it's silly to deny things which are actually known. I mean, nobody very much now really argues that smoking isn't associated with cancer. And I think we're in the early foothills of this argument with weight. And because so many of us are overweight, particularly, you know, it's difficult to accept, I think, that actually if you're overweight, it's not just the discomfort of being weight, it's not just the appearance, it's a whole lot of other things as well. Diabetes is really well known, but cancer is not so well known. But all these things are there.
But Catherine, you're not buying this at all, are you?
Actually, I think Faye is talking an awful lot of horse sense, actually. I can hear what she's saying. I mean, obviously, she's great. Your guest is, she's basically saying that she has to do her job, but she also accepts there are other factors involved.
She's saying what I said,
Catherine. I'd like to move the discussion slightly further. One of my other hats is I'm actually a fitness instructor, and I actually instruct larger people. I'm a large person myself, and I instruct fitness, I do fitness stuff, basically. And what I've noticed, and what I know that is also a fact, is that when people move, no matter what size they are, but particularly if they're large, a lot of these contraindications that are being thrown around actually completely disappear. There have been studies done where they took larger people and they gave some of them drugs, some of them treatments, and whatever, and looked at the indications, things like high blood pressure and diabetes. And they gave another group exercise 3 times a week or something at a gym, I think it was, in a gym circumstance, which is not always possible for people because they are very expensive. But it did actually reduce all these contraindications that were being talked about. I think my main theme, above all, is no, I don't buy into these statistics, but I do buy into that anyone, fat or thin, who's not moving around enough, not getting to the gym, will suffer some kind of complication. And yes, I do agree with your other guest in that we have a propensity to ignore it and just carry on and pretend nothing's happening. So I totally agree with that. But I don't think drugs or surgery, all these different things they're offering for people who are large, are the first port of call. What I would like to see is free fitness. I'd like to see early intervention,
Catherine,
free fitness facilities, and let's get out there and let's get healthy in a different method apart from just bothering the NHS.
No, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that you said you don't think that if you're larger, you're more likely to get cancer. You don't think if you're larger, you're more likely to get diabetes. When that is true.
I'm saying health covers a huge spectrum. I'm saying health, how do you get cancer? I mean, obviously, it's a huge argument, but let's just say you get it from a poor diet, sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah.
There's various factors that come into play here. I'm saying let's
and size being one of them.
And then let's look at the idea of how cancer spreads and how cancer gets involved in someone's life. I mean, let's look at it from different perspectives. I don't think you can get this one-size-fits-all argument that, you're not going to get me to agree and you're not going to get your other guest to deny that there is research out there that somehow shows that there's something going on. I think this research is fundamentally flawed. Personally, I do, and I think it needs to be looked into. It's not going to happen, but I will continue to put my argument forward.
Okay, Faye, do you can I pick up on something you said? You said that you were of a size. There was a government kind of line a few months ago that doctors and nurses will be given free gym membership or something, so they can set a good example. If someone comes in, Faye, to see you in your GP surgery and is worried about their weight, but sees that you are of a certain size, do you think, are you worried about the message that sends out?
Well, it's interesting because I always felt my particular interest has been diabetes, and a lot of my patients, their diabetes was associated with their weight. And I had a very thin practice nurse who was really good at dealing with the diabetes, and so I knew a lot about it. But the patients who were overweight, who found it difficult to lose, I think, I would say that, wouldn't I? I think I could understand them. They could understand me.
Right.
And I knew what the things were. And I always encourage people to become more active. I agree with your other guest to this extent that movement and activity is really important because people have high blood pressure and if they have risk factors for diabetes. But there's no doubt it all goes together because the more we move about, the more likely we are to be able to lose weight. It's not just all about diet, and certainly I absolutely agree that it's about how we look after ourselves, how we see ourselves. It's not just about drugs.
Okay.
So
from
that point of view, I think I had a sort of connection with my patients.
Okay. Faye, I appreciate you coming on at short notice. Dr. Faye Wilson, a GP in Birmingham, and also Catherine Shredecki, a size acceptance campaigner. 03453 009956.
Darlaston,
Edgbaston,
Erdington,
Paisley, Gornal Wood. Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM
95.6.
Nobody has been able to sell the pleasure of a cruise to me. I can't think of anything worse. You're sat on a boat for 10 days, 14 days with a load of old people. We've already heard there are a huge number of wheelchairs around. If they've not got their brakes on and it's a windy day, you're going to be dodging those bad boys. The one thing I've heard about a cruise that was quite good was that one cruise one of the callers went on, they had Quincy, not the real Quincy, but a pathologist was on there showing them videos of dead bodies. 03453 009956. Justin's in Wolves. Good morning, Justin. Justin,
Sir.
What would you like to say?
It was just really about this young chap with his nose job.
Sam Barton, yes.
That's the guy, yeah. It was a bit confusing because he said that he'd had this problem with breathing since he was a child.
Yeah.
Well, surely if he had breathing when he was a problem when he was breathing when he was a child, then he would have had the NHS do the job then rather than having to pay for it.
Well, yeah. The NHS job, he's messaged me, was partly cosmetic to repair the private surgery that he'd had done, and also to help him breathe.
But then you asked him, did you have problems breathing when he was a child? And he said, oh, yeah, I've had the problems since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So surely
it's a
the
very,
NHS would have done then, wouldn't they?
It's a very confusing story, isn't it?
It's very, very confusing. And I agree with you. I think he's certainly got body issue problems.
I feel sorry for him. I was angry with him, but I was angry in kind of the way a dad would be angry when they can see that their son is doing something ridiculous that they could stop doing.
Yeah. Well, you see, I had an accident many, many years ago, and I lost my teeth.
Blimey, how did you...
I had quite a bad car accident, and the airbag came out, and the front of the cowling smashed me in the face, broke my nose, and I lost one of my teeth.
You lost all of your teeth?
Well, I lost about 5 at the front, and then I went to a dentist who messed up a lot of the work on there, so I ended up having to lose all of them.
Oh, blimey.
And the problem is I can't wear dentures because they make me physically gag. I've got really bad gag reflex. But I can't get cosmetic surgery for my teeth in the NHS, and you need teeth to eat.
So what have you done?
I have to suffer. That.
Can you not get those? You can get those teeth. Well, I don't know what they're called. Where they screw them in.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing.
Like implants type thing. Yeah.
They're about £5,000 for one implant, and if you need a mouthful of teeth, that's quite expensive.
Yeah. So you've got. What, you just like sucking up soup and stuff. Do you just suck your meals? Is that what you do through a straw?
Yeah, and if I go out, I put my Boston dentures because I can't wear the top one because it makes me feel real sick.
Oh.
So at home, obviously, if I eat sort of soft foods.
Do you have a blender?
No.
Get a blender. And there was a great talking about large people. There was a great story a couple of weeks ago. A big lad who'd had gastric band fitted. But to get round that, he would blend up like kebabs and stuff.
Oh, no.
Imagine a kebab smoothie.
No. That's wrong.
You don't fancy that, Justin? Yeah, producer Joe has just pointed out, you don't sound like a gummy bear. You sound normal.
I am normal, thank you very much. I listen to your show every single week, so that makes me normal.
Justin, I hate to correct you, but I don't think so. Here's a story in the what's this newspaper called? The Sun. I never get these knighting stories. You know when people are knighted and become sirs? Do you become a lord if you're knighted? Are you a lord or are you just a sir? Which is best, a sir or a lord? I would say a sir. I think a sir. I never get when celebrities are knighted. I don't get it. And this is an odd one. Daniel Day-Lewis. The My Left Foot guy. What's he been in? He was in that awful Abraham Lincoln film. I was in New York and I couldn't sleep. I went to the cinema. That was the only thing that was on. It was 3 hours. I watched 20 minutes and thought, do you know what? Stuff this. But boring. Actor Daniel Day-Lewis goes down on one knee. Or you get a little cushion to kneel on. It's like when you go to have a little pray up in church, isn't it? Actor Daniel Day-Lewis goes down on one knee as he is knighted by Prince William yesterday. You'd be disappointed if you were going to be knighted and it was only Prince William that did it. Charles would be kind of cool, but you would sort of say, can I come back when the Queen's free? You'd want the Queen to knight you. I'd accept Charles. I would refuse Prince William to knight me. Wouldn't let William knight me. The 3-time Oscar winner chatted with Wills, 32, before being dubbed Sir Daniel at Buckingham Palace. He said he was amazed and delighted when his knighthood was announced in the Queen's birthday honours list in June. Sir Daniel, 57, won Best Actor Oscars for My Left Foot, There Will Be Blood and Lincoln. I've never seen any of those films apart from the... we lost that call. Where's that call gone? About to go to him. I've never... Did I do... No, I hadn't done, Justin. Oh, had I? Oh, in that case, we'll go to Alan. Morning, Alan.
Morning.
Can you... Oh, flipping it.
What's up?
It's you. Can you believe... Is your radio on?
The car radio. It's not on now.
Well, it was on when we first spoke, wasn't it?
Sorry, my mum and dad were listening to it.
Right, OK, well, your mum and dad are going to have to... If you want them to hear what's...
Turn it down. It's turned down now.
Right, is it turned off?
Yeah, it's off.
Is the car moving?
Yes.
Where are you going?
Macro.
Why? The radio's on again. Turn the radio off.
No, it's my mum talking.
Well, tell her to be quiet.
Can you be quiet, please? No, Dad, don't arguing now.
Tell your mum and dad, say, Mum and Dad, shut up.
Ian says be quiet.
No. Don't say Ian says. Don't do any of that. Just say, Mum, Dad, I am a man, shut up.
I tried telling them to stop, but they're still not talking.
Alan, turn to your mum and dad and say, Mum, Dad, I am a man, shut up.
Mum, Dad, I'm a man, not a mouse. Can you please shut the bleep up?
Thank you, Alan. Well done.
Anyway,
What
I'm a
would you like to
celebrity.
say?
Get me out of here.
Yeah, of that car. Yeah, go on.
This year's lineup. One of the poorest lineups I've ever seen in history.
Take a deep breath and calm down, because I didn't get all. The only word I got there was history.
One of the poorest lineups I've ever seen.
It's a terrible lineup for I'm a Celebrity.
I mean, the only two I know is Craig Charles and Michael Burke.
Well, do you not know Vicky Michelle? Shut up. Do you not know Vicky Michelle, who is the sexiest French waitress of all time?
I can do an impression of her.
Oh, go on.
Oh, ready.
Thanks very much indeed. 03453 009956. That sounded like Lenny Henry doing his okay. Welcome to Hotel Sharia. Sharia. No more alcohol or full English breakfasts at trendy venue bought out by a Muslim multi-millionaire. Oh, well. An exclusive hotel has banned alcohol and pork after being taken over by a Middle Eastern businessman who wants to run it in accordance with Sharia law. And I don't think they're going to be chopping off people's hands if you steal the dressing gowns. The strict Islamic policy was imposed without warning this week. There was no warning. We didn't warn anybody. There was no warning. The guy just took over and did what he wanted with no warning. At London's Bermondsey Square Hotel, where the bar and grill was previously run by MasterChef judge Greg Wallace. Well, the toughest 15 minutes of your life. No, it's not. It's cooking. Staff said the new rules were swiftly implemented on Tuesday on the orders of the new Muslim owner. It's the Daily Mail, doing it in their voice. Forcing waiters to tell disgruntled guests that much of the menu was no longer available. Hang on a second. If I bought a dead, swanky hotel, I'd do what the hell I wanted. It's my hotel. I can do what I want. We read on. Diners were denied dishes that used only traces of alcohol, such as beer-battered fish, a pudding with drunken cherries and rum ice cream. Good. Rum and raisin ice cream. Oh, it's disgusting. That, and I don't think you get it anymore. I think it's been outlawed by EU regulations. Tutti Frutti. Yeah. Do you want an ice cream? Yeah, thanks. Tutti Frutti? I think that's the reason Italy went bankrupt, because of Tutti Frutti. Disgusting. I'm on this guy's side so far. 03453 009956. Keith, stay there. I'll come to you in a second. Forced to improvise, chefs are now trying to source chicken and beef sausages instead of pork varieties for breakfast, and replace the popular hog roast with a rabbit terrine. You say they are trying to source. You can get them in Tesco's, can't you? The £220 a night hotel is cheaper if you book online. Is believed to be one of the first in the country to introduce the strict Muslim policy. I don't see the problem. The fella that owns the hotel is Muslim, so he's decided to strict Sharia law. What, we don't allow pork and you're not allowed to drink? Okay. Well, I'll either stay there, I probably would stay there because I don't drink anyway, or we'll go somewhere else. An IT consultant who's been a regular at the hotel said, a group of us were meant to be meeting in the bar and they said, We can't serve alcohol anymore. When I contacted the manager to ask why, he told me the new owner wanted it to be a Sharia law hotel. Under Sharia law, you can't make a profit from a hotel. The guest said he would no longer book the hotel, adding, they've got to be careful. It's been quiet and this is almost the death knell. I don't see the problem with it, if this is the case. And by the way, I'm not completely sure this is the case. The Daily Mail may be jumping on a bandwagon slightly. This could be slightly bandwagon-esque. But surely, do you see a problem with it? Keith, do you see a problem with this?
No, I think if it's like anything, if you don't want to abide by the rules of the house, don't go.
Exactly. The fella's bought it. It's cost him a few quid. He can do what he wants with it, can't he?
Done, yeah.
And yeah, okay.
It's a hotel.
You want to meet your mates in there and have some pork sausages and a beer. Well, okay. It's London. There'll be a hotel or a bar literally just around the corner. It's in Bermondsey Square. There's loads of hotels and bars around there.
Yeah.
03453 009956.
Answer the problem.
Answer the problem.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what. It came up earlier on. Somebody's on about bad language. I don't like swearing and all this.
Oh, yeah.
I've got to be honest with you. In the past, I've been a swearer.
You sound the sort. You sound the sort.
I do. I'm sorry, but, I've got to put my hands up to it.
Yeah.
And my mum, let me tell you a story, and I'll tell you the story why I rang up there.
Yeah, go on.
My mum, she was having a taxi home one night, and I happened to be working in the office. And she always said to the driver, is that my son on there? Is that Keith, dude? Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she said, you know, hear him swear, and the language she put out was terrible. And she said, I know who's taught him, lad. Anyway, he called phone me afterwards, and he actually said to her, you know something, I'm going to tell you now. I worked with Keith on and off for years. I've never heard him swear on the air.
Yeah.
He said, but I've been in the office when he's turned the air blue. And, I think it's what you try and how you try and conduct yourself.
My mum, I love my mum, right? Yeah. And I can I tell this story? Yeah, I can, but I have to phrase it very carefully, right? I saw in front of my mum once. This was when I was an adult, right? And she said, Iain Lee, where did you learn to swear like that? And I said, I learned it from you, you see. And I've not seen her laugh so much in my life. I'm glad she did laugh. Otherwise, I could have. If she wasn't in a wheelchair, I'd have got a wallop. But it takes a bit of time for her to get it going. But I certainly put her in her place.
Glad this is I taught her.
Listen. I don't swear in front of the boys, and I don't swear on the radio. I swear on TV sometimes. But I think a well-timed swear word can add impact. It can add emotion. It can be funny. It can be chastised. I think it's a powerful arsenal to have in your tool bag.
I'm not condoning it, but what I'm going to say to you is this: to be fair,
yes.
What does get me? We were in a restaurant some time ago, Carol and myself, my wife and myself.
So and Carol, your wife, and yourself. So you had two women there with you.
No, look, you.
Good lad.
You've had 2 weeks off. Behave yourself.
Sorry. Yes, calm down.
I was with my wife, Carol.
Yes. Your wife and Carol. Yes.
All of a sudden, this lad put loud language out.
Yeah.
And his mum went, "Man, don't you swear in there? Blah, blah, blah. How dare you swear in there?" The language she put out was worse than the kid had used.
She was swearing at telling him not to swear.
And I said to Carol, I'm not being funny, and I want to excuse myself, because I saw, you can't chastise a child for doing what you do in front of yourself.
What was Carol's reaction?
She agreed.
And what did your wife say?
She agreed with it. Go away.
I do like our callers. We get good callers, and I think we get the best out of ropey callers as well. Ranger, anybody? 03, I'm joking. 03453 009956. I will tell people off. If there are people swearing near my 2 young children, I'll say, oi, I go a bit common, I go a bit cockney. Turn this my dad. Oi, what's your language? You've got young ears here. I go a bit cockney. I've done that before. Don't swear near my kids, right? Don't swear near my kids, because I will have words. Quite happy to do that. 03453 009956 is the telephone number. We're also talking about this hotel in London. Welcome to Hotel Sharia. It's going to be run in accordance with Sharia law. The Mail, of course, making the Muslim owner, the new Muslim owner, who's said you can't sell pork sausages, you can't sell booze, making it out to sound like he's the bad guy. Surely it's his hotel. He can do what he wants. We're joined by Manzoor Mughal, who's chairman of the Muslim Forum. Good morning, Manzoor. What do you reckon what do you reckon to this story?
I don't think there is anything wrong with it, and why so much is being made of it. Already in the country there are many restaurants owned by Muslims, and these restaurants do not serve alcohol and they do not serve pork meat, and that's perfectly legitimate. They serve a particular market. I think it's a niche market of the Muslim customers, and this hotel, I think, is doing nothing wrong at all. While there may be some hue and cry because it's in London, but the owners are perfectly entitled to operate the premises and the hotel according to their own rules and regulations that they might describe or prescribe, and it, I think, provides an excellent opportunity for many Muslims, not only in Britain, but from all over the world, to come to a hotel which does not serve any alcohol, does not serve pork meat, and is perfectly compatible with Islamic requirements, which you call Sharia.
And there you go. The Mail is making a big issue that the business is down, but it will take a while for word to get out. But surely, the Muslims from around the world, this word will get around. Do you think? I kind of make up. It's in the Daily Mail, which I think is important, Manzoor. I kind of make up that there's a hidden agenda here because they then list what's been taken off the menu: breakfast, full English, sweet cure, streaky bacon and Cumberland sausage, bacon and egg bap, sausage and egg bap. These have been taken. Beer battered fish have been taken off the menu. There's an agenda here, isn't there?
It is. I mean, it's all following this Muslim anti-Islam sentiment that is currently in the country, and this is escalating it and causing more hostility towards Muslims unnecessarily. It's a perfectly legitimate business, and I think that the owner is entitled to do it, and it is, in my opinion, a welcome addition to London's great variety of different kinds of hotels and restaurants. And remember, if you went to a kosher place in London, there are some kosher places where they do not serve pork meat, and the Jews frequent such institutions.
Well, there's kosher places, there are vegetarian places, there are places that don't serve alcohol.
Indeed. So I don't think why they're making so much noise about it, but it'll die down. But I think it is perhaps in the nature of media to try and play it up and cause problems within our society.
There are words in this story that are meant to scare us, Manzoor.
Yes.
Sharia. Muslim multimillionaire. These things are supposed to scare us, aren't they?
Sharia scares everyone because it's associated immediately with the amputation of limbs and the cutting of throats and the killing and hangings, etc. And that is the last thing. Sharia is only a set of rules in our society which governs society in a very good manner. And all the other things you hear about Sharia are not compatible with Islam itself.
Manzoor, I really appreciate you coming on. I know we got you on at short notice. Excellent work, Joe, of course. An excellent guest, Manzoor Mughal, chairman of the Muslim Forum. Are you bothered by this? Sharia is meant to scare us. Hotel Sharia. Of course, it's not called that. I would stay in a hotel called Hotel Sharia. It's meant to scare us, isn't it? The Daily Mail is trying to scare us. I love the fact they've gone to try and find people who are bothered. None of the people who are bothered in this story that are quoted have given their names. Then they go to Greg Wallace, who ran a bar there. MasterChef judge Wallace, who ran the hotel bar and grill until last year, said last night, "Doesn't bother me." Well, that's not a story, is it? Did you hear that? Greg Wallace says, "It doesn't bother me." Oh, OK. Well, that's not a story, is it? You're not bothered by it. Is anyone actually bothered by this? 03453 009956. We're also playing Guess How Much Terry Wogan got paid last night for children in need. We've had guesses of 20,000, 50,000. Peter from Tipton says Terry Wogan gets paid £200,000. I'll tell you how much he gets paid in about 4 minutes. Emma's in Erdington talking about the hotel. Good morning, Emma.
Hi there, morning.
You're not bothered by this hotel, are you?
I think what bothers me about it, I am a little bit bothered by it, and that's because I just think the whole equality is lost He's there, he's bought the hotel, and the nature of the job is hospitality, and I cannot see a multimillionaire English businessman being able to go to a law where the Sharia law is in place and then open up a great big multi-million hotel that serves everything that goes against the laws of that land. And also, and I just want to make the point that also, when there was a Christian couple who didn't want to open their doors to gay people, there was absolute uproar about it.
Because
so where is the equality?
Well,
in
you
all of
know,
it?
you know why there was an uproar about the gay couple, don't you? Because that was discrimination. There's nothing discriminatory about this. They don't serve.
It's subtle discrimination.
Well, where's the discrimination? They don't. I go to places where they don't serve alcohol, and I go to vegetarian restaurants where they don't serve bacon. So it's not
I do also, but then what you're going to find by this is that it is based on their religion, it is based on their beliefs.
Yeah.
The couple who didn't want to, as a Christian couple, they didn't want to open up their doors because they didn't believe, because the Bible was telling them, the Bible believes that gay should not be gay.
Well, some people think the Bible says that, but that is discrimination. We don't allow... You'd agree, wouldn't you, discrimination is wrong?
I would totally agree.
Okay,
Discrimination
where's
is
the
wrong.
discrimination in this hotel then? There's no discrimination in it.
It is based on the fact of their beliefs, their Muslim beliefs.
Yeah, exactly. But where's the discrimination?
The fact that sooner or later, give it a year, and you're not going to get very many people that are there that are non-Muslims. It is targeted for Muslims.
Okay, it's. But where's the discrimination, Emma? It's a very specific question. How is this discriminatory?
That's the answer. If it's targeted at Muslims because of based on Sharia law,
but it's not saying
in itself is a discrimination.
No, it's not. It's not. Are you saying that kosher restaurants are discriminatory? Vegetarian restaurants are discriminatory? It's not discriminating. You could still go and stay there, whether you're Christian, atheist, agnostic, Jew, whatever. So it's not discriminating, is it?
It is. It's subtle discrimination.
No, it's Emma, I've got to move on. It's not. It isn't discriminatory by the very definition of the word, but thank you. 03453 009956. I'm shocked by that. I'm shocked not because Emma came on and put her point forward. I'm glad she did. But I'm shocked that anyone... Because we were going to do this as kind of one of the biggest stories. And I thought, well, let's not, because no one will be really upset by it. Will they? Turns out perhaps I was wrong. 03453 009956. Let's get the travel news now. Here's Matthew.
Motorways this morning. It looks a wee bit better around the NEC. A lot of traffic has been heading towards there for the events being held. The M42 now, more normal indicative flow from 5 up towards Junction 6 for this time of day. Bear in mind, if you're heading down towards Worcester via the M5, the Highways Agency are dealing with reports of animals on the carriageway just south of Junction 7 towards the M50 at Junction 8. In towards Birmingham, of course, it's another day of the Christmas market. That's led to a bit more traffic than usual, and of course that's now open, so I dare say we'll see routes like the Hagley Road and the Bristol Road getting a bit busier for the time being. 8:45 though, in towards the city's running okay, no great problems to report towards the Wheatsheaf. But if you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 on 08453 0022 88.
Inley
On BBC WM
95.6. The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
Pete's in Albury talking about this hotel. Morning, Pete. What would you like to say, boss?
Not particularly about the hotel, but particularly about Muslim traders.
Oh, yeah, go on.
They're hypocrites.
Oh.
They're not supposed to sell alcohol.
Right.
They're not supposed to sell the X-rated magazines off the top shelf, but they do.
Okay.
So...
Is that bad?
Well, it isn't bad, but either they Muslims who don't believe in that sort of thing, or they are, but they only do it to make money. It's against their... Sharia law, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but not all Muslims follow Sharia law.
Well, there are either Muslims or not Muslims.
Well, I need a Muslim to help me, guys, because I don't quite know how it works. But I don't think all Muslims adhere to Sharia law. Oh, hang on a second, Dr. Ashgar.
Hello, hi, how are you?
Are you Muslim?
Yes.
Right. Do all Muslims follow Sharia law?
Not necessarily.
So there you go, Pete. So they're not hypocrites.
No, it's just that, Sharia law can be strict in some ways. However, there are things which you can, obviously, I'm not saying that you can choose to ignore, but if you don't do them, it can make you like, that you're not Muslim or you're not
All right.
followed.
The doctor, stay there, because it's not the greatest line. Pete, so they're not hypocrites.
Okay, then. All right, then.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
No problem.
So go on, Asghar. Dr. Asghar, go on.
Yeah, I have to say quite a couple of things, actually.
Your line is terrible. Can you get your mouth near your telephone?
I am driving on the motorway.
Oh, man alive. Those hands-free kits, when are they going to make those good? Go on, let's see how far we get.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is,
Speed camera coming up.
If you are residing in a non-Muslim country,
Yeah.
for example, UK is a Christian country.
Well,
So if you abide by their rules, that should be okay. If, for example, you don't want to drink alcohol, that's fine. If someone is drinking, sitting beside you, that should be fine. If someone is eating pork, that should be okay.
but if I own a hotel, and I don't drink, right? So if I own a hotel and I don't want to sell booze, I don't have to sell booze.
Yeah, it's up to you. And the thing is, if you're not selling booze, I don't think that's discrimination, because it's just there are a lot of places like that. And second thing is, second thing about the pork, if you don't want to serve it, I think that should be okay as long as you are not discriminating against your employees. For example, you should be employing people not based on your religion. If you are, for example, exactly, if you have Christian staff, that should be okay. You should not change them. If you do that, that's wrong.
And there's no. And the doctor asked, I'm going to let you go because the line's terrible, and I want to make sure you don't get caught speeding. I'm not suggesting you are, but obviously lots of speed cameras there. There's no suggestion that. There's no suggestion that staff are being replaced by Muslim staff. That's not being said. That would be a story. That would be your story. Christian or atheist or non-Muslim staff being replaced by Muslim stuff. That would be a story. That would be something, but it's not. The fella's bought the hotel. He wants to run it slightly differently. What's your beef?
November 21st, 1974.
We sat, I think, in the car on the Coventry Road, waiting to see if she'd walk out.
The Birmingham pub bombings killed 21 people. 200 more were injured.
And of course, then she never came out. So when we went home, and I sort of knew, I think I knew then, that she was never going to come out.
This week, in a series of exclusive interviews, Unheard Voices relive that night.
All my hair had been burned off. I'd got shrapnel under my armpits.
This Friday night, on the 40th anniversary, hear a special documentary from 8.
There was a massive sound. I had no idea it was a bomb.
The Birmingham pub bombings, 40 years on. All this week on BBC WM 95.6.
So, how much does Terry Wogan earn for children in need? People were adamant yesterday that he gets paid. 70 grand would be my guess, says Sam. His fee 7 years ago was 9,000, so God knows what it was last night. And may I remind you, he's the only celebrity to get paid, says Edith. Well, that's interesting. Edith and Sam both have the same telephone number. Did you see, I reckon Wogan gets £35,000. Do you know how much he gets? Do you know how much? Nothing. Does it for free. I think he has done for like the last 6 or 7 years. So all these people yesterday phoning up furious. I know he gets paid. I know. Joe was taking calls off air. I know he gets paid. He does it for free. If he did get paid, would that be such a bad thing? I've done shows for charity and been paid very, very handsomely, thank you. I know. I got quite a few quid for hosting a charity auction. It was run by some dodgepots, actually. It took me a long time to get paid. There was some suspicious stuff going on there. We've done Dr. Asghar. Should we go to Chris? Morning, Chris.
Hi.
Hi, Chris. What would you like to say?
You keep talking about this non-discriminatory hotel.
It's not discriminatory,
It
yes.
is. It's discriminatory against meat eaters. It's discriminatory against drinkers.
No.
But more than
You can still. Well, Chris.
Just
Chris.
a sec.
No, Chris.
I've got 2 minutes. I've got 2 minutes.
No, Chris.
I've got 2 minutes.
You got 7 minutes. Chris.
Listen, it's
No.
got a religious,
Chris.
It's got a religious stamp.
Chris.
It's a religious stamp.
Chris, you've got 7. You've got as long as you've got the rest of the show if you want. It's not discriminatory against meat. So vegetarian restaurants are discriminatory against meat eaters.
No, Danny. They're talking about Sharia law. This is a religious stamp. Why can't they advertise a hotel without the Sharia law bit?
Well, they are.
Religious stamp.
No, Chris. Yeah. They're not advertising the hotel.
All right.
A Sharia law.
Okay.
The Daily Mail are.
You're splitting splitting hairs.
No, I'm not,
You
Chris.
are.
I'm
You
not.
are.
You've said they're advertising it as a Sharia hotel. They're not. The Daily Mail have called it
The
this.
Sharia law is religious stamp. They can open up a hotel and they can ban all the things that they want to ban without putting the Sharia stamp on it.
No, but
Now,
they
Sharia
haven't.
law-
They haven't. Chris,
Sharia law,
what you're saying is not true.
You told us it was Sharia law.
No,
you
Chris.
told us.
Chris. The Daily Mail the headline is "Welcome to Hotel Sharia."
Yeah.
Okay. The businessman who wants to run it in accordance with Sharia law.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Which is an actual contravention to the way that we do things in this country. It is. The Sharia law operates on its own divorce methods.
Chris, they're not
its
going
own marriage methods.
Can I get a word in? Because you're talking.
Of course you can.
Chris, you're talking out, with the greatest respect, sir. You're talking out your bum, right?
I'm talking about what?
You're talking out of your bum. You're not going to. They're not going
You're talking out of your bum.
No, but you're not.
You're championing a cause here.
No,
that
I'm
you
not.
should actually be thinking about.
No, Chris, you don't know what you're saying.
No,
they're not
you
going to.
don't.
They're not going to listen. Just be quiet. They're not going to be chopping people's hands off.
I didn't say that, Tony.
They're not going to
I
be
didn't say
divorcing.
that.
They're not going to be divorcing people. They're not going to be.
You've brought the chopping of the heads
They're
off.
not. I didn't say heads.
I don't believe
Flipping
that
it, Chris.
every Muslim person
Chris.
chops people's
Chris.
heads off.
Chris.
But what I do believe is that if you establish a Sharia law
Chris.
and the way Sharia laws do
Chris.
things, you're actually
Chris.
going against your own
Chris,
interest.
can I finish a point without you talking rubbish and mishearing me?
You're talking rubbish, Danny.
I didn't mention chopping.
You
I didn't.
did.
I didn't mention.
No,
Let me
Danny,
finish a sentence.
You're talking rubbish, Danny.
I did. My name's Iain.
All right, Ian, you're talking rubbish.
I didn't mention chopping heads off once.
You did.
No,
You brought it up. I didn't.
Chris, neither did I, mate. I mentioned.
You did. Roll the tape back.
I will do, Chris.
Okay.
Well, can I?
I'm not going on about
Chris?
stuff.
Chris, shut up, because you're really getting on my wick
You're
right
getting
now.
on my wick.
You're not listening.
You're not listening.
I did not mention chopping off of heads once.
You did.
I mentioned
You brought it up.
I mentioned
You brought it up.
I mentioned chopping
All
off.
right, we'll have a calm conversation.
If you shut
Sharia
up
law-
and stop being rude, I mentioned
Sharia law.
I mentioned chopping off
Yeah.
hands.
Danny, I mean, yeah, we're on.
Sakes. Let's go to Bertram. Yes, Bertram.
Oh, hi, yeah. Obviously, I've just been listening to your show.
Yeah.
The thing about where people keep getting mixed up, they keep talking about discrimination.
Yeah.
Right. There's laws in this land
Yes.
against specific discrimination. Now, what that hotel is doing, they're not breaking any laws.
No.
Now, the couple that were mentioned about, that couple that were running that hotel, no, they were running some organisation, whatever it is.
It was a bed and breakfast, and they wouldn't let two gay men sleep in the same room.
Right. They were breaking a law. There's a specific law against that, and they were breaking that law. Now this guy with his Sharia or whatever hotel, he's not breaking any laws. There are laws in this land to protect everybody.
Can I just say something? Because I do have to go in just a second.
Well, Chris, make your point to Bertram, but then listen to the answer.
My point is, you can advertise a hotel without actually claiming any religious identity, right? Now, you need to study Sharia law and to see how it contravenes the way we live in this country.
All right, let Bertram come back. Let Bertram come back, Chris.
So your problem, Chris, is the word Sharia. Why are you scared of that word? What is it about that word?
Why are you scared of the word Christian? Why are you scared? Why are some Muslims scared of the word democracy?
Well, no, you're making an assumption there, and you're putting a lot of people
you just made an assumption yourself.
No, can you let me answer, if you don't mind? You're making an assumption. You've just said, why are Muslims scared of the word Christian? What Muslim has said to you, I am scared of the word Christian?
No Muslim said it to me, but it's pretty obvious when you look at the state of the planet. Listen, if I could stop all religions, I'd stop them, right? Yeah, that would be my choice. We live as people. We all have feelings. We don't need religion, okay? Religion is a power tool. It's a tool for one-upmanship. That's all it is.
Let Bertram, Chris, you've had a good crack of the whip. Let Bertram come back, so we're running out of time.
Right, Chris, you're going off at... Chris, let me answer. You're going off at a tangent. Let's stick to the point.
The point is...
Chris, let Bertram speak. Chris,
let me answer. You're going off at a tangent. Right, this guy has called his hotel and Sharia, right? Now,
Yeah.
what is the matter with that? I know people who have got restaurants and they're called vegetarian restaurants, so I haven't got any issue with...
Well, maybe somebody should open up a hotel and call it a Christian hotel. What about
It's not a
that?
problem. I haven't got a problem with that.
Well, how silly is it?
Right, listen, Bertram, Chris, thank you very much for putting your points of view forward.
Well, I'd like to speak to you again at some point because I don't think we've thrashed this out properly.
You've had 6 minutes, mate. Maybe next week. Thank you very much, Chris and Bertram. Maybe you can call us between 2 and 4 on Friday, or 9 and 12 next Saturday. Thank you very much, everybody who called in. Well, that was a heated debate the last 20 minutes. I wasn't expecting that. Sorry to Daz, he didn't get to pop in. And well, I'll tell you what Daz is talking about today. It'll be like football, sports, men, big Jessies running around, hugging each other and kicking a ball.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.
He's right, you know. Iain Lee back Friday afternoon and then next Saturday morning. So on the way in early kick-off, I want you to tell me about your first